it all in. I don't give a shit. People need to know about what we think about hot dogs. I'm gonna start a fucking hot dog podcast.
I think it would probably go over a lot better than 5-hole fantasy. We could probably still call it 5-hole fantasy. It's just like you fit 5 hot dogs in your hole.
Yeah.
The doghouse.
I love the doghouse.
All right, I need to make another drink. I'm like 3 screwdrivers in.
Man, it's fucking serious.
Yeah. I didn't waste any time. Chris took Desi, and oh shit, that's like 3 shots of vodka. Chris took Desi, and I just started drinking immediately. I'm not going anywhere until like 7 or 8, so. There we go. Some orange juice for my vitamin C, some Tito's for my vitamin V. That's for vodka.
I'm going fishing later, so I'll probably be out of here.
Decent, man.
Dude, what is the weather like up there? It is fucking 95 degrees down here.
It is 65 and cloudy.
It's certainly
muggy
not,
as a shit.
It's certainly not 95 degrees.
No, you got perfect fishing weather. I got perfect stay inside and smell like an onion hoagie weather.
It's almost too hot to go fishing, but I'm still gonna go.
It's a lot of vodka.
Me and D Kim. Shout out to D Kim when you hear this.
Oh, is he listening?
He will be.
Was the podcast?
He will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. See if we can get him on as like a third wheel. So after this, I'm Steve from Hoser Hockey is doing like an inaugural podcast for Hoser Hockey, and I'm going to be shit-faced, and it's going to be like 8 a.m. over there. Well, actually, it's probably like, it's 9:30 over there. Oh, shit. Well, I don't hear Desi crying, so whatever.
What do you mean they're doing an inaugural podcast?
He just wants to start a podcast, man, and we're not going to talk like hockey or anything. He sent me a script. He didn't send me an outline. He sent me a script, and I told him, I was like, scripts don't work for podcasts, man.
What are you talking about? A script? I understand
so it's
what
like,
you're talking about, but like that sounds.
I'm supposed to read what he's writing. It's not right. So like I'll write stuff down like paragraphs and stuff, but I freeball the whole thing. I'm like, oh, that's what I was thinking, 2 nights ago when I wrote this. So I'm just gonna get in that mindset, and I just like freeball it. And that's the whole thing is like you put little stats and this, that, and the other thing, so you're not an idiot when you say things. But the script, it just doesn't make sense. So right after this, I'm going to text him, say, hey man, I'm ready to go. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So I think we're going to put it up on the 5-hole iTunes, but I don't know, just because we already have like a base of listeners, and maybe they can get into it. And, I don't know. If anything, I'm going to be talking hockey for an extra hour, and I'm going to be like 12 shots of vodka in, so it'll be great. What kind of sandwich you got? Oh. Egg salad.
Chicken sandwich. I baked off a chicken.
Very cool. Chicken salad? Like grapes and all that shit?
I baked off a chicken. So I have all like the leftover chicken. It's just like chicken and Munster cheese. Delicious.
Ooh. Hopefully Chris makes me another sandwich.
I've been doing a lot of cooking lately.
Yeah,
I made homemade meatballs and homemade sauce last night. It's fucking delicious. So
I like meatballs. Speaking of hot dogs again. I had those mini hot dogs, like pigs in a blanket last night for dinner.
Delicious. What, you just had a bunch
32 of them.
Mini hot dogs.
32. 32 mini hot dogs, dude. Because you do them with crescent rolls, or the croissant rolls, and I felt bad throwing those away, so I just made them all. And then next thing you know, like, fuck, there's none left. And you're out of hot dogs.
Hey, whatever you got to do.
All right. Stretch it out. I'm ready to go. All right. Intro time. Should we do it? Should I play? Should I play our music? Get you in the mood.
Yeah, I want to. So I got a bone to pick with you.
Intro?
I got a bone to pick. Go ahead. With you. I sent you my rankings, but I don't have your rankings in front of me. What the fuck is this about?
All right. So I'll tell you them right now, and then I'll edit it out. So
my list is solid as a motherfucker. My list is solid as shit.
Tiers.
How many do you have on your list?
I have all 31. I have all starters.
Oh, I threw in some extra backup guys because I think that there's a couple of backup guys that are better than a fucking starter out there that may or may not be named Scott Darling.
Yeah, I mean Scott Darling. Here's the weird thing: is like I noticed that Scott Darling and Cam Ward both played 43 games, which brings Carolina's season to 86 games total.
No,
not right. Not right.
No, that's okay. So games played is different than games started.
Games started.
So that means that Scott Darling sucked so fucking bad that they had to pull him, and then Cam Ward had to go in, which happened a lot of times.
So before we begin, you know Roberto Luongo's name is Roberto, yeah?
Yeah, what the hell are you talking about?
All right, so I went back and listened to our goalie rankings thing. For like a year straight, you are convinced his name is Robert Luongo.
What the hell are you talking about? I have Roberto right there, Roberto Luongo.
All right, go back and listen to our.
Don't be calling me out, motherfucker.
I'm calling you out because I know I'm right. Because
you're the one that can't even say half these guys' fucking names, and you're trying to call me out on calling them Roberto or Robert. This is bullshit. You can't even pronounce fucking Anderson right.
Frederick Anderson. All right, so
I'm surprised you don't call him Frederic.
Jonathan, do you actually think that? Because his name's Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah, I say Huberdeau.
You say Huberdeau. Oh.
Dude, I know that the man's name is Roberto Luongo. I fucking
what I'm gonna do,
or else I wouldn't have that typed down right here.
I'm gonna send you the raw audio of the last episode we did last week, and you call him Robert Luongo 3 or 4 different times, and I had to splice out where you said Robert.
Dude, I'm
Luongo.
I'm gonna send you something rare. That's for sure. I'm gonna send you something raw. It'll be in a nice fucking package for you.
And then what you need to do is go back.
I know that his name is Roberto. Like I said, I showed you right here. See? Where is it? Where is it?
Okay. So you're
right there.
So you're 1 for 3.
24.
So you're 1 for 3. So go back and then listen to our. I think it's defenseman. Hold on, let me finish here. Go back and listen because I did it today. Go back and listen to defenseman and goalie rankings, and I think we were drinking Jameson or Caribou or something. You call him Robert Luongo in that one too. Okay,
well maybe quite a few shots of Caribou in. Maybe I lose some O's, some vowels. You know what I mean?
All right.
Let's start calling
him Bobby Lou.
Bobby Lou.
But anyway, I will. I'm going to run you through.
No, you don't have to run me through anything. You don't have to run me through anything.
No,
I just feel
my ranking.
I just feel some sort of way that I sent you mine. I let you see mine.
All right.
And I didn't get to see yours. All right.
I can't zoom in long enough. All right. So tier 1, these 4 goalies I have in the tier 1. I have Connor Hellebuyck.
We'll go over when we do everything. It's fine.
I mean, I could do it right now. I'll edit all this shit out.
No, because all
right.
I'm sure they're for the most part pretty similar. I would think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Except obviously, if you have Connor Hellebuyck in tier 1, you have him higher than I do, because I have him number 8.
Number 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 8, I have Pekka Rinne.
And I have Pekka Rinne number 3.
Vasilevsky, number 3.
Vasilevsky, number 2.
Frederick Anderson, number 2.
Frederik Andersen, number 6.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we're
yeah, we'll get there. It's more to talk about, really.
I guarantee our top 10s are pretty much all the same, just with a little bit of differences on numbers.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So I have Carey Price number 12, actually, not 14.
I think you're wrong.
That's fine. All right. So should I do the intro? Are we ready?
Make a fucking bet out of that too.
Oh wait, no. No, I'm gonna play our. I'm gonna play. Why can't I do this?
Well, you're actually gonna play the song.
Yeah.
I love hearing the song. It's one of my favorite parts. Gives me goosebumps.
Why? Why can't I find this shit? It should be on my Google Drive. All right, I'll just play it on my computer, and you should be able to hear it. Okay, maybe it's just gonna play. It's gonna play through my fucking.
I'm just gonna take a shot of Jaeger. Not loud.
Better. Did you hear the outro yet? The one Randy made?
Yeah. Was it on the last episode?
Yeah, it's been on the last few.
Well, okay. So while I was listening to the last episode, I drank the first half of this bottle of Jaeger. So by the end of that episode, I was there.
A little schliz, a little bros.
It was while I was cooking that chicken, because my favorite thing to do, or one of my favorite things to do, is get shit-faced drunk while I'm cooking.
Yeah, that's why I decided to be a cook / chef for my entire life. It's because now I have an excuse all the time.
Well, your entire life is over. Why are you not drunk?
I just worked a 13-hour shift. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it's only 10:30.
You're drunk. You're sexy.
I like your pants. All right. I'm going to do it. Yeah, so our mics, they sound even. We're good to go.
Good.
Fuck. I feel like I need another cigarette. All right, guys.
Well, are we going to take a cigarette break before we get started?
Yeah, do you want to race?
Sure.
Yeah, might as well, right?
Okay, so what? We'll be back in like 3 minutes, and we're just gonna let this sit up here.
Like that. Yep.
Okay.
Right now we have 0 viewers, so we're good.
That's sad, because we went over a lot of really good points about hot dogs and ice and ICT.
Oh yeah, it's all right. I mean, I can pick and choose what we leave in there. This is gonna be like a 6-minute intro.
Okay.
If I leave like all the good stuff in there.
Let's. We'll be back.
Heard.
Love you.
Yes. Yeah, I did. Come on. Timing.
Hey, that was really good.
Yeah, my mom just got home.
I haven't took an extra minute because I gave the dogs each a rawhide, so they're good to go. They're occupied.
Feeling better. Good and smoked up. All right. Intro. I'm too drunk already. Right? Fuck. This was full. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Here we go. Do you want to do an intro? You want to do it?
No, go ahead. That's your job. That's your job. You've done every intro and you've
fucked up like 95% of them.
That's all part of our thing, you know.
Mom just got home. Hopefully she doesn't know that I took her Tito's and am going to drink all of it. But anyway, here we go. What's going on, guys? Welcome to 5-Hole Fantasy Hockey Radio. I'm your super loving host, TJ Branson, and joined with me today. Yes, because I always fuck it up. All right. What's going on, guys? Welcome to 5-Hole Fantasy Hockey Radio. I am your loving host, TJ Branson, and joined with me once again is my co-host, Zach Vogel.
Hey.
We're here to talk some goalie rankings, and I know rankings when the season's still going on. What have you guys been drinking? So the answer to that is yes, we have been drinking. But I think out of any of the positions, goalies are one that we can definitely get a head start on. Think of it like a rough draft. You never know who's going to get traded, who's going to get bought out. Hopefully, Brian Elliott. What is that noise?
What is what noise?
Is somebody vacuuming like right outside your door?
No.
Oh man. All right, so I'm gonna start over again. I don't know what the hell that shit was.
I don't hear anything.
I heard it. It was weird. So what's going on, guys? Welcome to 5-Hole Fantasy Hockey Radio. I'm your loving host, TJ Branson. Joined with me once again is my co-host, Zachary Vogel.
Hey.
We're here to talk some goalie rankings, and I know the season's still going on. What are you guys doing rankings for? So the question is what have you guys been drinking? The answer to that is yes. We have been drinking.
Jaeger.
I'm drinking. Jaeger. You're drinking Jaeger. I'm drinking
Jaeger.
Tito's vodka once again. I didn't get a chance to finish the bottle last week, so I'm on it this week. So I think out of any of the positions, goalies are the easiest one we can kind of get a head start on. Goalies are kind of the same from year to year. Think of it like a rough draft. You never know who's going to get traded or bought out or what have you. So we will do another more official ranking come like preseason, September, August, whatever. We're just going to go through each team, comment on each starter, backup, kind of deep dive into teams. We think we have like a timeshare. To me, Buffalo has a timeshare. Robin Leonard, Chad Johnson.
But also the main thing is you don't know what their defense is going to look like. You don't know what their offense is going to look like. You don't know what they're going to bring up from the bottom, or even who they're going to draft.
So that's a big thing. That's a big part of it is people like Carey Price, and I know we're going to get into it. You and I have exchanged texts. Carey Price is ranked a lot lower than he has been in years past just because of the team around him. So a bit of a spoiler alert, but that's just the reasoning for a lot of things. So just thinking ahead to next year, looking back a few years, we can start to see some trends, maybe plan some things out. I mean, look who went in the top 3 for goalies last year. It was Holtby, Price, and Matt Murray. So Braden Holtby had the worst regular season of his career. Carey Price plays for Montreal, so he had the worst season of his career. And Matt Murray, for the first time in his NHL career, did not win a Stanley Cup. So I guess you could say he is having the worst year of his career as well. His numbers were also those were his worst. I think last year he was like a 923 save percentage, and now he's like a 907 or something. So we're only a few seasons in, but we can assume it's only a speed bump. So let's save some suspense for later. How do you not hear this, man? It's like I'm inside of a vacuum. Anytime I get on a roll and I start talking for a little bit, there's like a whirlwind that starts going on.
I'm telling you, I'm not hearing anything like that.
All right, so how do you want to get things going? Do you want to kind of just share our rankings right off the bat, or do you want to get into just see? I sent you mine, and you sent me yours, and naturally you went by conference, and I went alphabetically because that's just who we are as people. Do you want to go through each team and kind of project who we think?
I like going by conference. I don't.
You want to do it by conference?
I don't see what the problem is going by conference.
All right, let's do it by conference then. Where do you want to start out?
Well, I started out with the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, first up's the Metro.
Yeah. So, in the Metro, first off, okay. So once I got into the conferences, I went by alphabetical order. So I mean, you should be a fan of that.
Okay.
Okay. First off, Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes. So we talked a little bit about it last week. We have Scott Darling. We have Cam Ward. We don't know who the third guy is that they're going to bring in to have this 3-horse race. But last year, Scott Darling, he started 40 games, record of 13, 21, and 7, and the lowest save percentage out of all starting goalies at 888. What?
Not good.
You suck, Scott Darling. No, I mean, no offense, but he had zero shutouts, and he was giving up 3.18 goals a game.
Hold on 1 second. What's up, babe?
I didn't know if you left.
No, I'm podcasting down here. Sorry, there's my mom.
Hi, Mama B.
So the guy, Alex Nedeljkovic.
Nedeljkovic. Alex Nedeljkovic.
Yeah, Alex Nedeljkovic. He was actually the other goalie in the game where Alex Lyon put up 94 saves. So that's a little interesting tidbit. Yeah, so Nedeljkovic lost in a 5 overtime game, 2-1. So good for him. He only gave up 2 goals on 58 shots.
I thought it was like 53, but yeah, it was 50 something.
And Alex Lyon puts up 94 saves on 94 shots in a 5 overtime game.
94 saves on 95 shots, but yeah.
What did I say?
94 on 94.
Oh, well, yeah, that doesn't make sense. So, all right, back to the Carolina Hurricanes. So you got Scott Darling, who was 13, 21, and 7, and then Cam Ward, who pretty much mirrors that at 23, 14, and 4. So it's just a complete image.
Okay, so the way I see it is Cam Ward seems to be the obvious choice to be the starting goalie down in Carolina. But they did pay Scott Darling all this money, and they want him to work out. However, I don't know how many Carolina Hurricanes games any of you guys have seen, or even you, TJ, but the team looks different with Scott Darling in net that they do with Cam Ward.
Are they a little bit more like worrisome?
Yeah. And so it almost seems like it makes him make mistakes, and then Scott Darling can't stop some of these mistakes.
So that's just a cycle of failure.
Yeah. So I mean, it just seems like they play better with Cam in net. So I mean, makes me feel like you gotta have Cam Ward be the starter. But the only thing is, he's getting up there in age. I mean, he's going to be a automatic getting his jersey hung in the rafters kind of guy, but he can't start 55, 60 games. He can't do it. I mean, even with starting 42 games, he was getting, like what happens every year with Carolina, it almost seems like they have to ride him at the end of the year, and it never works out because he breaks down.
Cam Ward's like, he's 34 years old right now. I mean, it's not hard to put up better numbers than Scott Darling, but he is doing it. Whether or not him or Alex Nedeljkovic, I'm practicing it. Every time he comes up, I'm going to say his name just so I can practice. Between the three of them, Cam Ward seems like you said, the best option.
I mean, unless this young guy comes out and lights the world on fire, and sometimes you got to go with the young goalie just to get him experience and see what's going to happen. I mean, on top of the fact that next year with Rod Brendemar's first year, he's, you know what I mean? It's not like he's going to be held accountable.
But he still has to make an impression, especially in his first year. He's going to want to win games. Everybody does, even if it's your 5th year, 10th year, whatever. He's definitely got to make an impression. So, like you said last week, it's going to be a 3-man race going into it. I mean, if you got to put your money on it, it's going to be Cam Ward, right?
I would think so. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. It just seems like that's what you got to go with. Seems like that's what your team is most comfortable with. And I don't care that you're paying Scott Darling this money. But, I mean, if you want to win games and you want to be viable, You got to go with Cam Ward.
That's the only option they have right now, especially if Scott Darling. He might be our only sub 900 goalie in this conversation right now.
I think there's one more. We'll talk about him later.
Craig Anderson.
There's one more.
I'll cut that out.
And yeah, it's Craig Anderson.
To leave a little suspense, I'll cut that out. All right, so let's move on to what? Columbus?
Yeah, you want to take Columbus? Who's your starting goalie for Columbus, TJ?
Who is it going to be? It's definitely going to be Sergei Bobrovsky. Last year, he played 65 games. He went 37, 22, and 6 with a 9.21 and a 2.42 goals allowed. He had 5 shutouts, which is, not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Behind him was Jonas Korpisalo. He played 18 games last year. I
like Korpisalo, by the way. But
Korpisalo, he went 17-8 and wait, wrong. He played 18 games. He went 8-8, which only adds up to 16 games, but that's what Hockey Reference is telling me. Well, that's because he lost one in overtime. I don't know. But last year he had an 8.97 save percentage with a 3.32 goals allowed. And as anybody knows that has Sergei Bobrovsky, Bob's is going to play like all the games. He plays – it almost seems like he plays 82 out of 82. The games you see Jonas Korpisalo are like the Arizona or Buffalo or just those super easy hand-me games. And yeah, so you're looking at Bob's. I've got Bob's like he's a good goalie. He's a really good goalie. For me, he's ranked like super, super high.
And we let him go.
Of course we did. I think we got Jake Voracek out of that trade, so I'm okay with it. But what are you gonna do?
Bitch about it. I'm gonna bitch about it.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, so Columbus, that one, no brainer.
That's a no-brainer. So Bob's is going to play probably about the same amount of games next year. 65 sounds about right. With 15 back-to-backs probably through the year. Korpisalo might see some 15 to 20 games, probably on the low end, 15. So Bob's is always like, to me, he's a top 5 goalie. Last year he was like he was a top 5 goalie. So
because he is a top 5 goalie. He's a top 1 goalie.
The Devils, Corey Schneider is hurt right now, yeah?
Yeah, but they had your normal timeshare. Corey Schneider started 40 games. Keith Kincaid started 38.
A lot of that due to Corey Schneider just being out and hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but still, Keith Kincaid held it down. You got to give it to him. I think that he has a decent chance to actually be the starting goalie next year because he showed what he can do in those 38 games. He was 26, 10, and 3.
Wow.
So that's solid numbers. Corey Schneider was above 500, but he was 17, 16, and 6.
Barely above 500.
He had a better save. Kincaid had a better save percentage at 913 compared to. Actually, no, he was just above Corey Schneider. Kincaid was 913. Corey Schneider is 907. So it's just by a little bit. He did have a better goals against average at 2.77 compared to 2.93, and they each had 1 shutout. But the whole thing is Taylor Hall going to have another year like he did last year? Is Marcus Johansson actually going to make a impact?
So we're going back
he did this year.
So we're going back to it's a lot based on the team around you.
Yeah. So that really helps when Taylor Hall's getting 2 points a game.
So when you draft Corey Schneider, take it with a grain of salt. again, it's about the team around you. And apparently, he required hip surgery. The news is coming out last week, May 8th, that he is projected to require 5 months of recovery time. So that takes us well within to training camp, well within to preseason. Dude, I don't know what this sound is. I hope it doesn't actually wind up on the audio. I keep hearing it's only through my mic, I guess. But
does it make you in?
No, it's I don't know. It just sounds like maybe like dead air, but it's just a whirlwind. So he had surgery to repair a torn cartilage in his left hip last Tuesday. So he's going to need 5 months. The Devils intend to update his status over the summer when more information is available. It says he dealt with this problem on and off all season. So that could play part into, his piss poor numbers. But like you said, Keith Kincaid, I mean, with the numbers that he put down on paper, that it looks good. I mean, they're probably going to be comfortable with the timeshare.
I'm not drafting the Devils goalie, personally.
Yeah, neither of them.
Yeah, because I mean, you're getting that timeshare. That's not helping you, and you don't know what you're going to get out of the Devils. I mean, last year we had them ranked as being an awful defense. They did better than we were expecting, but still, I mean, there's going to be better goalies out there. I have both of them in, I think, the late 20s.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. We got the. Is it my turn with the New York Islanders?
It's your turn with the New York Islanders.
Don't draft either of them. New York Rangers. Let's go. Let's move on. So Yaroslav Halak, he played 49 games, went 20, 26, and 6. He had a .908 save percentage and a 3.19 goals allowed.
At least he was above 900, but
barely. He actually managed one shutout, and I can't remember which game that was, but I'm sure it happened.
It was against the Guatemalan national team, probably.
Behind him is Thomas Greiss. I'm not excited about either of these guys. I mean, unless you're in like a 16-team league or playing categories, Yahoo, stuff like that. But in points leagues, neither of these guys are getting drafted. They could be streamers, if you got a real plum matchup that week, or the Islanders are playing like, I don't know, from last year. We don't know how Buffalo is going to do this year, but if the Islanders were playing Buffalo this year, I'm streaming those guys.
Agreed.
Outside of that, I got nothing else to say. They got to do something. Their goalies are subpar. I know the feeling.
Right, so moving on to the New York Rangers.
Yeah. So you got Lundqvist. That's the guy.
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. This past year, he had a horrible season, but he didn't have the help like he has had in years past. They traded away Ryan McDonough. They traded away JT Miller. They got Nemestikov back for him, but we'll see. We'll see what they are next year. Lundqvist played 61 games. He had a 14, 26, and 9 record. Ouch.
Even before the trade deadline, he was struggling the entire time. Mm-hmm. The Rangers as a whole were struggling.
They were definitely struggling on the whole. But the whole thing about Henrik Lundqvist, he still had 3 shutouts. So, I mean, that he is a great goalie. He can pull you out a shutout out of his ass. But he has to be amazing because they don't have the defense that they've had in years past. They don't have that hard-nosed game like they've had in years past. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, Henrik Lundqvist is obviously the guy. Antti Ranta was there, but obviously he went to Arizona. Like we said last week, I think that was a huge mistake. He was your successor in net.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and Cam Talbot before that.
Yeah.
And then you got, I think it's Andre Pavlik. The only reason Alexander Georgiev was getting any games is because Pavlik was he was hurt. So coming back next year, who's your backup? Is it going to be Andre Pavlik, who was the third string goalie on a struggling Winnipeg team 2 years ago? And fuck, man, that doesn't look good.
Yeah. So I mean, that's your obvious choice, but I'm not saying don't draft him. I'm just saying don't get him too early. Don't reach, and go from there because you don't know what the Rangers are going to be.
So next up, we have our Philadelphia Flyers. I see you're sporting their jersey today.
Yeah, I went with the Flyers jersey today.
So we had a hell of a season with goalies. We had 4, maybe 5 goalies play. Brian Elliott took the lion's share with 42 games played. He went 23, 11, and 7, which sounds good on paper, but
yeah. Which yeah, exactly. On paper, it doesn't sound bad, but
because you put those 23 wins, 11 losses, like that's not bad. That's like almost twice. That's more than twice actually. And then you have the 7 overtime losses. So really, his record is 23, 18, and 0. But anyway, we got those 7 extra points. He went 909, which is below league average. Had a 2.66 goals allowed and 1 shutout, which I think was the game that after his injury, he came back and shut out. And then we were like, oh, my God, Brian Elliott's going to be good. And then it didn't happen. Behind him, we have Michael Neuvirth, who played 22 games, spent a lot of the time on the mend. He was 18, 9, and 7. No. Hold on. Sorry. Michael Neuvirth played 22 games. He was 9 and 7 with 3 overtime losses. He had a 9.15 save percentage and a 2.60 goals allowed with 1 shutout. So
I like Michael Neuvirth.
Dude, I don't know what that fucking sound is, but it's gonna ruin everything.
I hope not. I'm telling you, I don't know what to tell you. I don't hear it.
I hear it, and it's only when I talk. For like, it won't be when I start, but then like after I go for a while, it just you'll hear it. I'm sure on the episode.
I hope not.
But here we go.
Everything sounded so well last week. So
who's next? Pittsburgh Penguins.
And that's an obvious one.
Yeah, it's Matt Murray.
Okay, so it's Matt Murray. I played 45 games. He won 27, 16, and 3. Super solid. Had a 907 save percentage. Not great. 292 goal against average with only 1 shutout. So, I mean, as we were saying before, this has not been Matt Murray's season, but again, he's been hurt a lot. He's actually been hurt a lot throughout his career. So I mean, the man's got 2 cups on his belt, but he is always hurt.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
So I mean, up next, I mean, is Tristan Jarry, who's
he's not Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, he's a decent goalie to have as your backup. He'll get you some wins, but I mean, he's not going to light the world on fire. So I mean, if Matt Murray is hurt again, watch out, Penguins. Luckily, you score 4 goals a game.
I was just going to say that is the only thing Tristan Jarry has to hang his head on is the fact that he has an offense that's better than the defense is. So he can win a game 5-4 and still have a really shitty showing. You know what I mean? So
exactly,
he can go 890 and still win a game, but that's what you got. That's all it is. So it's kind of like a trifecta here. I'm not sure what the difference is between Tristan Jarry and Casey DeSmith. It almost seemed like last year they played the same amount of games. It was always one of the two, you know what I mean? So it was Matt Murray, obviously, as the starter, and then while he was on the shelf, it was either Casey DeSmith or Tristan Jarry. We saw this a lot this year. I know with Chicago, it was kind of just like Jeff Glass or Anton Forsberg or JF Berube, where it didn't really fucking matter. They were just going to start one of them. It's almost as if they just flipped a coin and they're like, oh, whatever, fuck it, let's put this guy in there. Next up is the Washington Capitals. We had Braden Holtby have the worst year of his career. Burp. I'm going to look up his numbers.
Braden Holtby's numbers. So he started 54 games. He was 34, 16, and 4. Which, I mean, like you said before, on paper, they sound great.
He had a 9.7, so I think you might have got the number wrong here. He did go. So Braden Holtby started 54 games. He was 34, 16, and 4. He had a 907 save percentage with a 299 goals allowed. He had 0 shutouts this year, which is really uncharacteristic of Braden Holtby, but made a shit ton of saves. So in those, Yahoo or category leagues, he's still, to me, he's top 5.
You're still hearing it?
Yeah, dude. It's driving me nuts. But right behind him, you got Philip Grubauer, who played 28 games this year. He went 15, 10, and 3 with a 9.23 and a 2.35 save percentage. 9.23 save percentage and a 2.35 goals allowed with 3 shutouts. So coming just behind Braden Holtby.
Is possibly the best backup goalie in the league.
Yeah, I would say so, that he is, without a doubt. There was almost a controversy going into the playoffs. Is who are they going to start? Is it going to be Holtby? Is it going to be Grubauer? So I don't want to say this is the end of the Holtby reign, because by no means is it.
On top of the fact that he's kicking ass in the playoffs too.
Oh my God, yeah. He, for the first time in his career, beat Pittsburgh. Thank you to Matt Murray for just being, average. I think just on a separate note here is that Matt Murray is just hyped up like crazy because of the team in front of him. So the same thing we're going to say in a negative light about Carey Price, we're going to say about Matt Murray in a positive light for the same reasons, is that, you have an incredible team in front of you. So Matt Murray is awesome, in fantasy. But Carey Price, he's got Max Pacioretty, and I guess that's it in front of him. So there's not much to go on. Jeff Petrie. So, yeah, imagine that. I got to pee. So I don't know if you want to kick off the Atlantic. We talk about Boston.
Let's do the Atlantic. Just you and me, guys. All right, so in the Atlantic, we're starting with the Boston Bruins. Now, it is an obvious choice for who's going to be the starter, but also one of the best backup goalies in the league. However, this is, just like with the Capitals, a big part of you have a fantastic team in front of you who is going to score a lot of goals. So let's start off with Tuukka Rask. Tuukka Rask played 53 games. He started 53 games. He went 34, 14, and 5. Really good. He had a 917 save percentage with a 236 goals allowed, 3 shutouts. I rode Tuukka Rask like the workhorse that he was this year. I picked him up because somebody was stupid enough to drop him when he was kind of slumping a little bit. And then I got him when he started back on the uptick. Behind him is Anton Khudobin. who started 29 games, a lot because Tuukka Rask was he was hurt for some time. But in that time, Khudobin went 16, 6, and 7. Really good numbers. But like I said, he is a fantastic team in front of him. 913 save percentage, 256 goals allowed. Very similar numbers between the two. But also, you have a great team in front of you. Tuukka Rask is 100% the guy. But Anton Khudobin, if you have Tuukka Rask, you want Khudobin. It's just the way it is because you're going to get those. Yeah, it's a solid 1-2 punch. There was a lot of games where I was kind of banking on Rask to play, and Khudobin ended up playing, and somebody else had him, and it really pissed me off. So, but yeah, I mean, Tuukka Rask is your guy. He is a fantastic goalie. I have him in my top 5. Just do. I like him a lot. He makes some great saves. I mean, he kind of took a little step back in the playoffs this year, in the real playoffs, but it is what it is.
So next up, we got the Buffalo Sabres. It's pretty much 2 untouchable goalies in Robin Lehner and Chad Johnson. Robin Lehner played 50 games this year, went 14, 26, and 9. He had a 908, which isn't bad, but goals allowed and the team in front of him were not awesome. He had 3 shutouts, which is more than Matt Murray, more than Brian Elliott, more than Anton Khudobin, more than Yaroslav Halak, more than Keith Kincaid, more than Corey Schneider. So you got that going for you, but still, this is an okay goalie on the worst team in the league as far as last year goes. Chad Johnson.
Look what happened this past year, where the year before last, everybody was just doing daily pickups of who is Colorado playing.
Yeah.
That you know what I mean? That's who I'm picking up. I'm picking up any goalie that's playing Colorado. I'm picking up any offensive player that's playing Colorado. I don't give a shit because I know they're going to get 7 goals scored on.
That was Buffalo this year.
So, I mean, you don't know who it's going to be each year.
Buffalo and Ottawa. I think Ottawa might have given up the most goals per game.
Which is crazy because you have one of the best defensemen in the game, but he's also focused a lot on offense and not as much on defense. So, yeah, I mean, Robert Lehner, definitely your main guy in Buffalo, but don't draft either of these guys. Just don't do it.
And at the end of the year, they were turning to Chad Johnson for a while. It almost seemed like they lost confidence in Robin Lehner, even though Chad Johnson, he started 29 games, went 10, 16, and 3. He had an 891 save percentage with 355 goals allowed. So just Buffalo all around, their goalies are not something to be desired. So when we will start talking about drafts months into the future, Buffalo is not going to be the way to go.
Except Buffalo is about to get Rasmus Dahlin, so at least they got that going for them.
Yeah, that's one defenseman. You think that's going to fix their entire problem?
It's going to help years down the line. I mean, they're getting the best player in the fucking draft, so I mean,
they're going to go from
certainly not going to hurt them.
They're going to go from, I don't know, worst in the league to 5th worst in the league. Maybe.
All right, so next up, Detroit Red Wings. Jimmy Howard, who is
trash.
The guy there. But yeah, I mean, he's not great.
Maybe they re-signed Mrazek.
Honestly, it's not all Jimmy Howard's fault. So he started 57 games, 22, 27, and 9. He had a 910 save percentage, 1 shutout. But I mean, it's another one of those things where a big part of it is who he has in front of him. He does not have a good defense in front of him. he had Mike Green for most of the year, but I mean, who else they have? I mean, they had a couple of games where they showed some real promise where like Dylan Larkin was playing out of his fucking mind. They were scoring like 5 goals a game for like a week straight, and then they came back down to earth. So, I mean, I'm staying away from Detroit goalies until you figure out what they are. They are a very young team. I'll give them that. They have a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But I'm scared as far as finding out what they're going to be.
Jimmy Howard is almost a desperation move where you're in like the 17th, 18th round and everybody else has a starter goalie and you've just been focusing on everything else and you're like, fuck, I need somebody. Shit. Oh, yeah. Okay, Jimmy Howard, fine, whatever. And then you're stuck with Jimmy Howard for the rest of the year.
Until you take one of those really good players that you've picked up, since you're focused on one thing, trade them and pick up a really good goalie. I've done that in the past, and it worked. So
that's the only way Jimmy Howard gets drafted is in desperation. Shit, I need a starter.
Okay, you're up on the Florida Panthers, and Roberto,
Bobby Lou,
Roberto Luongo. Go ahead, shoot.
Admittedly, I'm a lot higher on Roberto Luongo than you are. He was hurt for a long time last year, and you can see it in the numbers. Is James Reimer played more games than Roberto Luongo, but at the end of the year, just looking at it, I mean, we all remember is in 2007 or 2018 when the year started. You know, the Flyers were having a crazy go of it, and then Florida just turned it on like nobody's fucking business, and it's almost as if the second Roberto Luongo came back, they started turning it on strong. And Luongo, in 33 games played, went 18-11-2, had a 929 save percentage, which is like
really good. It's really good.
Has got to be top 5 in the NHL last year, given he only played 33 games, so he doesn't exactly have that.
Yeah, it's not like he was playing 60 games.
There's a sample size to be had there, but still, you're playing less than James Reimer, your backup, and I don't know. But anyway, Roberto Luongo, he was a big part.
You just called him Robert Luongo. I fucking heard you. You just said it.
It's subliminal,
and then you corrected yourself like that.
It's subliminal. It's because you're inside my head right now. So Roberto Luongo, he had a 929 with a 247 and 3 shutouts. James Reimer right behind him. I don't exactly think he's going to be worth picking up, but you can't see things like this so far into the future. Who knows? Roberto Luongo, his old ass self, he could be hurt all next year again, the same way he was this year. So James Reimer might be the guy next year. James Reimer played 42 games. He was 22-14-6 with a 913 save percentage and a 299 goals allowed with 4 shutouts, which is kind of surprising. And we're going to go into the dark horse that is Montreal Canadiens.
Real quick before I move on, I will say this about Roberto Luongo and the Panthers. They're a good team. Don't forget about this. Like, they have depth on offense. They really do. Their top line is fantastic, anchored by Barkov and Huberdeau. And did you like that I said Huberdeau? I mean, because I'm stupid, so I can't really say anybody's name right. So, but yeah, so their first line is fantastic. They have a really good young defense. So, I mean, Roberto Luongo could be like a really good goalie next year if he keeps up these numbers and his team grows around him. They could make the playoffs, and he could be really good for somebody's team. So keep that into account.
Yeah,
Just going with the trend in the past couple of years, they're getting better and better each and every year. The older those guys get, and they get some more ice under them, and they're growing together. So I mean, just remember that, guys.
I have Roberto Luongo in like the meat and potatoes of my rankings. He's like smack dab in the middle, kind of like high risk, high reward type of guy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I have him down at 24, but that's just because I don't know what you're going to get from him next year. Let's just be honest. I think he's not the Roberto Luongo of years ago when he was playing for the Canucks and he was a top 3 goalie in the league. I mean, he used to be one of the best. So I'm going to put an earmark in that one. You know what I mean? I'm going to earmark that page, and I'll go back to it, and I'll see what I think in a couple of months.
He was good for the last half of the year, and that's what's going to stick out in the minds of everybody drafting next year is, the last half of the year. I got more burp. Hold on. Maybe
that was a shitty one.
Yeah. I thought I had more burp, but I can feel it like right here.
So as per our conversation last night, the first thing you noticed about when I sent you my list and everything like that, Carey Price and the Montreal Canadiens.
A perfect example of great goalie, shitty team in front of him. It's completely the opposite of what we have in Philadelphia. We have a great team and a shitty goalie. We should trade for Carey Price, in his $10 million a year contract.
It's almost like, I brought something like that up last night.
Did you?
I can't remember about me saying those points last night, but those are good points that you bring up.
Thanks, man. It's all original.
So 48 games started, 16, 26, and 7. Ouch. 900 save percentage on the dot. Ouch. Letting up 3.11 goals against average. Ouch. 1 shutout. Ouch. He's got jack shit in front of him. I feel bad for the guy. He's one, like last night when you asked me about this whole Carey Price thing, I said Carey Price is a top 5 goalie on a bottom 5 league or on a bottom 5 team.
Yep.
I truly, honestly believe that, and that's I have him far down in my rankings because I don't trust the Canadians. If Carey Price is letting in 3 goals a game because he's seen a ton of shots and the defense isn't helping him out, and they're only scoring 1 or 2 goals, that adds up to a lot of losses for Carey Price. And I mean,
he'll get the saves, but he won't get the wins. And that's
exactly.
And that's the hard part.
So I mean, then you're getting all this minus for each goal going in, all minus, and you're backing that up. So say he lets you get -3 on goals in, and he's got 30 saves, you're smack dab at 0. I mean, how does this help you? So I mean, if you want to draft Carey Price, be my guest. But I mean, I'm not doing I'll do it, but I'm not going to do it early. I'm not going to do it like in years past where Carey Price was a top guy. Not only was he a top 3 round guy, but he was a first round pick in a lot of drafts just because he is fucking Carey Price.
Now the times have changed.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm not picking him in the top 3. I'm not picking in the top 3 rounds. I'm not picking him in the top 5 rounds. Somebody will though. Somebody will in your league. Somebody will in our league. Somebody will in every league because they know the name Carey Price. And I'm telling you, it's not going to help these guys out.
But again, it is way too early. And I mean, right now, I agree with you 100%. But if the Montreal Canadiens, they make a splash, in in the offseason, whatever. They have the money for John Tavares, and I've seen, those types of scenarios played out where they get John Tavares, they get this, they get that.
That would change the game.
All of a sudden, they're a good team again.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. That would change. That would totally change where I have just the implementation of someone like John Tavares. That would change my ranking totally. Even though I think John Tavares is going to the Kings.
So that's why our episode is titled "Way Too Premature" or "Premature Goalie Rankings." Is because I don't know. It's something to talk about. Why not? But up next is the Ottawa Senators.
Should we just skip the Ottawa Senators?
I mean, I almost feel like we should, but I don't know. Craig Anderson, I'll just do it. I'll do it real quick. There's not much to say here. Craig Anderson almost seems to be like going back and forth. He has a good season. He has a bad season. Just look it up. Like, that's what happens.
So maybe he's on pace to have a good season this year.
He might. So take a chance. He could be a steal. Who knows?
But they fell apart after they got rid of Kyle Turris. They fell apart.
Game 1, dude. They fell apart. Which I'm just gonna read the stats and just say whatever. Craig Anderson played 55 games, went 23, 25, and 6, had an .898 save percentage with 3.32 goals allowed. So that was almost as if the team that if somebody was playing that team, that was the team you were picking up. People, fuck, I don't know how to say this. So if anybody was playing Ottawa, that's who you were picking
up the opposite goalie. You were picking up the opposition's forwards on the first line, anything like that, because number one, they had an awful penalty kill.
Yeah,
they were letting in goals left and right on the penalty kill, and their goalies were Swiss cheese. So I mean, last year they were the team that I was picking up everybody that was going against them, and it definitely hurt me with the plus minus on Carlson because he is on the ice so much, so he was getting a lot of minus, which definitely wasn't helping me. So, we'll just take it as that. We'll see what Ottawa is going to be next year. But I'm not super excited about the whole thing because, like I mentioned before with Kyle Turris, I think getting rid of Kyle Turris was a huge mistake. He went to Nashville. He lit it up. But on top of the fact that it was well known that in Ottawa, in their locker room, on their ice, Kyle Turris was an incredibly well-liked, well-respected player. He was their locker room guy. And then they get rid of him. And let's be honest, they were not the same team.
No, it's almost as if there was like a Matt Duchene curse. Is whatever team he goes to is just absolute shit.
But in all honesty, Matt Duchene didn't play bad for them.
Oh man, I remember he was shit for like the first 10 games, and then
he turned it the fuck on.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I can't blame Matt Duchene. I mean, honestly, I blame their front office because I think Kyle Turris is a great young player. And getting rid of the soul of your locker room is not going to do well for your team. It's just not. Just flat out. That is a big reason why I think what happened to Ottawa this year happened.
As of today, I'm staying away from all Ottawa goalies. You never know.
We're staying away from a lot of goalies so far.
Yeah. But on a different note, you get to take away the Tampa Bay Lightning, Andrei Vasilevskiy.
Who you had and you traded this year.
I traded for good reason.
Which worked out pretty well for you. So Andrei Vasilevskiy is the clear-cut guy. I mean, Peter Budaj is behind him, which is, don't get me wrong, a solid backup. But, I mean, Vasilevskiy is your guy that's going to play 60-some games. So he played 64 games.
Louis Domingue actually played more games than Peter Budaj. I think it was a lot due to the fact that Budaj
Budaj was hurt, but I think Budaj is going to be the definite backup goalie. Don't get. I mean, Domingue is all right, but I think it's going to be Budaj. Okay, so Vasilevsky, 64 games. He went 44, 17, and 3.
Wow,
great numbers. A 920 save percentage and a 262 goal against average with 8 fucking shutouts. 8 shutouts.
Number one fantasy goalie right there. Those are the numbers.
Ridiculous. So, I mean, Vasilevsky is definitely a guy to draft not only in the first round, but I think he is a top 5 pick. I don't know if TJ agrees with me, but I don't see Tampa Bay slowing down next year. I picked them to win the Cup this year. They're not playing well against the Capitals, but also the Capitals are kind of doing something they've never done before, is where
winning in the third round.
Yeah, but also it's because their contributors are contributing. It's their backup guys. It's Kempney. It's Tom Wilson.
Eller.
It's fucking Lars Eller. You know what I mean? It's these lower tier guys that are coming through for them in the clutch, and that's why they're winning these games. TJ Oshie is where the fuck have you been?
Haven't heard of him.
TJ Oshie is Carmen Sandiego, dude. Like, he got that big contract and he just fucking disappeared. And you got it. You know what I mean? But yeah, no. So Vasilevsky is going to be good next year. If he's not, then you know what? I'm wrong. And maybe I wasted my top 5 pick. But I don't see that happening.
No, but that's a perfect example of the team in front of you. You know, you got a great offense. Vasilevsky is starting to show kind of his true colors right now, where he may not be, you know, an elite goalie, but
and no, I don't know if I would totally say that, because I mean, honestly, their defense is playing like shit. They're letting up its scoring, its solid scoring chances. That is their problem right now.
Look at their defense. You got Victor Hedman, Anton Strawman, Brian McDonough, Mikhail Sergachev, like all these guys, and
yeah, but they're letting up goals in the slot. Like, it's not like they're not helping Vasilevsky out right now.
I think it's a matter of...
That's why. It is solid scoring chances. It's not like they're just letting up shots on goal from the outside wing that he can see well. They're letting people get in front of the net, and that's where they're getting hurt. They're not really getting hurt from outside. They're getting hurt from fucking down low. Okay, and that's the defense that has to be better. They got to put shirts on shirts, and they're not doing it right now. All right, Lars Eller walked right up to the fucking doormat last night.
I think it's a matter of Capitals have finally gotten over the Penguin hump, and they're just like, whatever, dude. Like, we've already tackled the hardest part of the playoffs, so the rest of it we should just like skate over, no problem. So they're playing real confident right now.
And to go against something you said a little bit earlier about that this is a perfect example of the team in front of you. I think it's a combination of that with also there being a really good goalie, because make no fucking bones about it, Vasilevsky is a great goalie. You don't have a 920 save percentage and a 262 goal against average if you're not a great goalie. I don't want anybody to think that 8 shutouts without a great goalie. So
I mean, anybody to think that I think Vasilevsky is like subpar or any of that, where Matt Murray is the same kind of way, where I think he's just an average to maybe below average goalie with a great team in front of him. Andrei Vasilevsky is not the same way. He is a great goalie with great offense in front of him.
And that's why he's a top 5 pick next year.
But if your defense, sits the game out like they have been in the last 2 games, where they have been, in the last half, maybe not half of the season, but almost as if after the trade deadline, Andrei Vasilevsky, I mean, they clinched. Nobody cared. They were going to make the playoffs either way. And it's almost as if they overworked this 23, 24-year-old goalie, and he didn't know what to do with it. And he started getting tired. So I think next year 64 games played might be a stretch, but I don't know. 60 games is probably where he's going to land. This is probably on par with where he'll be next year. Maybe not the save percentage, but I don't know. Vasilevsky, like you said, top three pick, maybe top 2 pick. But this is what we do every year. So going back to last year, we had Holtby, Price, and Matt Murray as the top 3 goalies. So goalies are so volatile that you can't.
Yeah. You never know what you're going to get. But I mean, I think that this is a really good situation.
So I'm trying to take it with a grain of salt here.
And, all right, so last team in the Eastern Conference.
Last team of the Eastern Conference is Frederik Andersen, who played, if I'm not mistaken, he played the most games out of any goalie. And
no. He played the second most.
Who played more?
Cam Talbot.
Are you kidding?
I'm pretty sure. I think Cam Talbot played 67 games. Frederik Andersen played 66. Christ.
Okay, so Frederik Andersen played the second most games out of anybody behind Cam Talbot. Cam Talbot, for the second year in a row, takes that trophy home. This year, not so honorably. But Frederik Andersen, the workhorse that he is, plays 66 games with a 38-21-5 record, 918 save percentage, and a 281 goals allowed with 5 shutouts. So Frederik Andersen definitely taking a step forward from where he was 2 years ago, but still couldn't take it home in the playoffs.
But I also think that Toronto is going to, I personally think this, and it's not just because I'm a Toronto, I'm a fan of quite a few of the Toronto players, but I think that Toronto is going to take a big step next year.
Yeah, they are.
I truly think that they're on the uprise. Like they're going up. I think they're going to take a big step next year, and I think Frederik Andersen is going to get a lot of those benefits. It's going to get a lot of those wins just because they're going to be better.
So what they might need to do is upgrade their backup goalie so that Freddie Andersen could take more of a, I don't know how better to put this, but leisurely role as the starter instead of playing 66 games. He could play maybe 60.
So you don't like McElhinney, huh?
I don't even think Toronto likes McElhinney, but I don't know. They need to upgrade on their backups so that Frederik Andersen doesn't need to be that workhorse by the time, game 83 rolls around when they are making the playoffs, that he is just whooped, you know what I mean? And exhausted and just worth fuck all. And that's why they can't make it out of the first round, is because Freddie Andersen, I mean, he played well, don't get me wrong, but still, you don't want to overwork your starter. So if anything does happen in the offseason where they upgrade their backup goalie, Freddie Andersen might not be – he's still going to be a top 5 goalie, don't get me wrong, but he might not be, top 3 where he was this year, where, you got Cam Talbot, who was one of the biggest busts of anybody's fantasy season. And then you got Frederik Andersen.
He was the biggest bust of your fantasy season.
He was, but Jesus fuck. Anyway, and then Vasilevsky right behind him playing, the 3 most games out of any goalie, and 2 out of those 3 having actually good seasons. So Freddie Andersen, I still have him in my tier 1 ranking, but that's the reason we called this the way too early rankings.
All right, so we're moving on to the West.
I gotta pee again.
Do we want to take a quick smoke break again?
Yeah, I'm down with that.
I'm gonna edit it all out anyway, right?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
I'll see you back. Where you at, T? All right, so let's get right back into it. We're going to be doing the Central now. We're up to the Blackhawks. So, I mean, Blackhawks, there was we were talking a little bit about them earlier. There was a big share on everything from Corey Crawford to Anton Forsberg to Berube, right? Jean-Francois Berube. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I'll start that over.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fuck, man.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's lagging a little bit.
Okay.
Pretty sure one of the cats got down in the basement.
Yeah, there's a lag a little bit. Okay, so next up we have the Central. I'm going to jump right back into it. We got the Blackhawks next. So they had a timeshare all around. They were throwing a little bit of everything out there. These are goalies you really want to stay away from. At least I would think so. I've seen other people's lists which have Corey Crawford really high, and I just don't get it. So Corey Crawford last year played 27 games, or he started in 27 games, went 16-9-2, the .929 save percentage, and .227 goals against average with 2 shutouts. Don't get me wrong; those are good numbers. But I can't trust that he's going to be there and play the amount of games that I need him to play to be worth drafting high. Is he worth drafting maybe in like the 10th, 11th, 12th round? Okay, I can see that. But drafting in the first 5 rounds, no dice. After him, you have Anton Forsberg, who actually started more games than Crawford. He started 30 games. He went 10, 16, and 4. Ouch. He had a .908 save percentage with .297 goal against average and 0 shutouts. So, yeah, I mean, Corey Crawford would definitely be the guy that you would be drafting out of these goalies, but you don't know what you're going to get. So, I mean, I'm staying away from him at least until the later rounds. If he's still there, he could be worth picking up just to see what happens. But, I mean, the Blackhawks are not the team that they have been in years past. They just aren't. So
not even close.
So, I mean, draft at your own risk.
Just going back a few years, he hasn't played less than, 12, 13 was the lockout shortened year. He hasn't played 50 games since this year. So it might have just been a drop in the bucket. It might have been, kind of just like a one-time thing that he was hurt like this. He doesn't have this type of injury history, but the injury he had this year was pretty big. That it kept him out for, a really, really long time.
Yeah,
he missed 40 games.
Yeah, it kept him out for. I was going to say something like that myself. And I mean, think about that. At least 20 of those were going to be more starts. 20 to 25 of those games would have been starts. So I mean,
and coming out of the Chicago front office, it every week it seemed like they had a differing opinion. Where one week it was like, oh yeah, Corey Crawford's going to be back. Like he's skating, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's taking shots in practice, blah blah blah. And then the next week they were like, yeah, he's shut down for the year. And then 2 days after that they'd be like, oh, we're real optimistic about this guy. So it was never great, like getting true information from their front office. So you also got to take what they're telling you lightly. Yeah. It's the news out of that. I mean, he's got like 3-4 months to get back to shape and everything, but you never know who Corey Crawford's going to be after this injury. So, like you said, take him later than you usually would. I know Corey Crawford was a pretty high draft pick this year, not like super high, but he probably went he definitely went in the top half of the Goldies this year as far as starters go. And this year, maybe not so much. Just you look at the season the Blackhawks had. They didn't have the greatest season, but a lot of that was on Anton Forsberg, Jeff Glass's shoulders. But Corey Crawford, when he was playing, before the injury, had stellar numbers: 929 save percentage, 2.27 goals allowed, 16-9 at 2. That's great. Those are really good numbers. If he would have been able to play a full season, the Blackhawks season would have been completely different.
Okay, so up next we have another timeshare, and you're up with the Colorado Avalanche.
You think so? I think if Semyon Varlamov stays healthy, that he's well with
this year. This year it was timeshare.
He's well within the guaranteed starter position. And Johnny Bernier, he had probably one of the best seasons of his career with a .913 save percentage as a backup. With a lot of his time being, yeah, dude, there's definitely a cat down here. Somebody's meowing. I'll be right back. Who's down here? Hey, Andre. Come on. You gotta get back upstairs. Oh, that's my baby. All right. Hopefully that's the only cat that's in the basement.
You cat.
So Jonathan Bernier, he probably had one of the better seasons of his career. He was never a trustworthy goalie when he was the starter in Toronto. He was his name just kind of has this asterisk behind it where it's like, oh, this is fucking Jonathan Bernier. He's gonna shit the bed every single game he plays, but. .913, which is right around league average, 2.85 goals allowed, 2 shutouts. He went 19-13 at 3. But if Semyon Varlamov can do, a full season's worth of work, he could see like 60 games. He went 24, 16, and 6 last year, 920 and a 2.68 goals allowed with also 2 shutouts. So Colorado.
Yeah, I know. But are the Avalanche going to be what they were this year? Are they going to do it again?
I don't know, man.
Do you trust in them? For the fact where you draft Semyon Varlamov in like.
They've thrown me through the ringer, the Avalanche.
The 6th or 7th round or higher. You know what I mean? Because with those numbers, if he's playing 55 games with those numbers, he's worth a 5th round draft pick.
Yeah, and that's another like high risk, high reward type of guy. Where 2 years ago, where Colorado as a whole, they shit the bed. He only played like 30 games or some shit. And obviously that didn't work out well for them. But if you can get Varlamov to play more than the 24 games he played when Colorado was at the bottom of the league, he could be, better than league average. And even in those 24 games, he had a 3.38 save percentage with a sub 900 save percentage. So just going back the years before that, he had a 9-2-1 in 2014-15, 9-14 in 2015-16. Every year having less than 3 goals allowed. So maybe last year was just, a fluke almost, where his poor play didn't exactly go with the team in front of him. So I'm thinking next year, if he can get back to his usual self, playing over 50 games a year, even close to 60, Colorado has a good chance of winning a bunch of games, and Varlamov could be a very viable starting goalie for your fantasy team.
I feel you. I just obviously have some sort of worry. I have a little trepidation on where to take him. That's my only problem.
High risk, high reward. That's where I'm going to leave it.
Okay, so next up we have the Dallas Stars and Ben Bishop.
Your favorite.
I want to like Ben Bishop so bad. I want to like the Dallas Stars so bad. But they keep on letting me down. It sucks. It just does. So Ben Bishop he started in 51 games last year. He won 26, 17, and 5. Not bad numbers. I'd like to see better. Their defense needs to step it up. It can't be just John Klingberg out there. So he also had a .916 save percentage and a .249 goals against average, which aren't bad. It's right around league average. He did have 5 shutouts, which definitely is going to help you because he can do that. But once again, I mean, it always seems like the Stars are underachieving.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times in the past 3-4 years have they not only been picked to go to the playoffs, but to get far in the playoffs?
Especially this year with all the moves they made.
Yeah, I mean, you add on a player like Radulov, you think that team is going to be so much better, but it's just that top line that's really producing, and they need the depth.
They had probably the loudest offseason out of anybody, and it seemed like they had the best offseason out of anybody, and they still didn't make the playoffs. They made the best additions out of anybody, any other team, and here they are,
just underachieving. Yep. Underachieving like a motherfucker. So I mean, they need to take that step. They need to do it. I have them picked to go to the playoffs next year. Talked about it last week. I think they're going to make the playoffs next year, but I would have said that every other year in the past 3 years. And hell, they were rolling out people like Antti Niemi, Kari Lehtinen, now they have Ben Bishop. I mean, hopefully year 2 for Bishop in Dallas is going to be better than this past year. And we'll see what happens. But, I mean, I would think that he would be in the top 8 rounds.
Yeah, I'll put him there. I mean, even Kari Lehtinen, he started 30 games, went 15, 14, and 3. He had a .912 save percentage, 2.56 goals allowed with 1 shutout. So, I mean, he was doing barely serviceable work. But that's what you lean on your backup for. And Ben Bishop being out for the last few weeks of the season put a lot on Kari Lehtinen's shoulders, and he didn't exactly shoulder it the right way. This season could be completely different for a guy like Ben Bishop.
Let's hope. So we'll see. I mean, I'd like to be right. I enjoy that. I do like that a lot.
I know how much you like that.
It's one of my favorite things.
So next up, we got the Minnesota Wild and Devin Dubnyk. Last year's Vezina finalist. This year's, super viable goalie. And
another good year with another good team in front of him. So I mean, remember that it's not just he's a great goalie, but he also has a great team in front of him.
I've seen him shit the bed plenty of times, but he also steals games like nobody's business. So Devin Dubnyk played 59 games last year. He went 35, 16, and 7 with a 918 save percentage and a 2.52 goals allowed and 5 shutouts, which is, it's not going to hurt your fantasy team. You love those shutouts. Behind him, you had Alex Stalock, started 23 games, went 10, 10, and 4. That adds up to be 24, so I don't know what the fuck this math is. But anyway, Stalock had a 910 save percentage and a 285 goals allowed with 1 shutout. The goalies in Minnesota, like they owe a lot to the offense that happens there. Minnesota is one of the few teams that can roll out 3, sometimes 4 lines and get contributions from everybody. So Devin Dubnyk fed a lot on that, and he owes a lot to the offense for his success. So I'm drafting Devin Dubnyk high, definitely well within the top 10, pushing the top 5, but not exactly. I'd put him like 6th, 7th goalie to go.
I have him 9.
You have him 9, so definitely within the top 10. I think I have Devin Dubnyk. Let me check. Oh, that's yours. Mine. I have Dubnyk ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have him ranked 7th. So, I mean, I have him above Pekka Rinne, John Gibson, Marc-Andre Fleury, Jonathan Quick, Carey Price. He's a good goalie, but he owes more than a lot to the team in front of him.
All right, so next up we have one of the guys you just mentioned there, Nashville Predators and Pekka Rinne. I don't know what all this talk is about. So I heard people say, "Oh, well, the Pekka Rinne just played his last game. He's ever going to wear a Nashville uniform." Are you fucking crazy? All that he's done for that franchise, all that franchise done for him, you think they're just going to part ways with Pekka Rinne because he had a couple of bad games? Don't get me wrong, he did. They shouldn't have pulled him in that Game 7 as early as they did. That was fucking ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. I like UC Saros. UC Saros is a solid backup goalie, but to pull your franchise goalie who has been with you through thick and thin like that in a Game 7 in the first, 7 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, I think he played like 10 minutes.
Ridiculous. Pekka Rinne is a great goalie. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is a top 10 goalie through and through. Okay, so this year he started for 59 games, went 42, 13, and 4. Awesome.
Incredible.
He had a 927 save percentage. Awesome. 231 goals against average. Awesome. 8 fucking shutouts. Awesome. How are you going to pull this guy Game 7? I don't get it. I don't get how people can possibly say he's played his last game as a Nashville Predator. If he did, you know what? You can come here.
Yeah.
You can come play for Philly, Pekka Rinne. I'll fucking open up my arms and welcome you like a brother. All right. If Nashville doesn't want you, then I'm more than willing to take him. He's a great goalie. He would do great for us too.
I think it just seems like Pekka Rinne might not be like a big game, big money goalie, where big games seem to eat at him more than any other goalie. We saw it last year in the Stanley Cup final where he was playing on the road, and dude, he was putting up like 700 save percentages, and it was just fucking brutal to watch this shit. And this year he's given up 4 goals in the first half of the period, and Laviolette's pulling him and putting in Saros and pretty much throwing in the white flag right away.
Saros made some good saves. I'm not taking anything against UC Saros because I like UC Saros. I think he's a great backup goalie. I don't know. And Rinne definitely let in some soft goals, to say the least. But am I going to try? Is he draftable in the top 4 rounds, in the top 3 rounds? Absolutely. No doubt about it.
just taking a look at Nashville on the whole, they have probably one of the best teams and team setup for the future out of most teams. They have a lot of prospects coming up. You got Dante Fabro, Ellie Tolvanen, and like UC Saros. So next year, are we going to see Pecorine play closer to 50 games and UC Saros starting to get his feet wet a little bit more? This year, he played 23 games, doing 11-5-7 with a 9.25 and a 2.45 goals allowed with 3 shutouts. So
that's what I'm saying. UC Saros is a great backup goalie. Is he the heir apparent in Nashville? Yeah, I would think so.
Definitely. So with 2 years where Nashville has like yet to reach the mark, are they going to start almost taking? I don't exactly want to call it taking a step back, but are they going to realize where they're at and start to be like, okay, well, Pecorine is this old, and we need to definitely start getting UC Saros ready for the future because, like you said, he's the heir apparent, and they need to get him ready. So, are they just going to cash it in and almost like prepare for the future where they know they're not going to win a Stanley Cup next year. They're not going to win it a year after that, but they still have people like Phil Forsberg, Victor Arvidsson, Ryan Johansson, who are still in their mid-20s, and their core is not even close to being old. I think PK Subban's like 28.
Why can't they win it next year? You know, I'm not even like really a fan of Nashville. You were like on the fucking Nashville train last year, and yeah. I didn't like them, but I mean, that won't take anything away from me saying why can't they win it next year?
But we've seen
of course they can.
We've seen what Pecorine does in big games, and he shits the bed every single time. And if UC Saros is the type of guy who's putting up, all right, so let's look at it. Pecorine over 59 games, so I'll give it to him. He played twice as many games, but you got UC Saros with a 9.25, and you got Pecorine with a 9.27. You got UC Saros with a 2.45 and Pecorine with a 2.31 goals allowed. So the numbers there aren't really that different. Are you just going to start putting UC Saros in and
I could see him. I could see maybe playing him more games in the regular season.
Yeah.
But once the playoffs roll around, am I just taking Pecorine out? No, I'm not. I mean, okay,
not in the first 10 minutes, man. Like that, I agree with you 100%.
You say he shits the bed every time. Well, I mean, you shit the bed until you don't. All right. When I was fucking 3 years old, I shit the bed all the time until I didn't. So,
but it took a certain amount of years, right? So, does Pecorine have that type of timeline for him, or are they just going to start giving UC Saros that spotlight? Are they going to get him used to NHL play, getting him used to being a starter? Because Pecorine can't take you to the promised land.
I think you can throw another 10 games UC Saros' way. I'm fine with that. But I mean, are you just cutting ship with Pecorine and giving the reins to UC Saros? No. If you do, if you do, you're fucking stupid. And
like I said, by no means.
I'll take Pecorine. He can play in the playoffs for me, and we'll see how he does.
I don't in the least bit think that UC Saros is going to be the starter next year, but I also think they're going to start transferring the confidence into UC Saros outside of Pecorine, because this is 2 years going where they made it deep in the playoffs and Pecorine cannot seal the deal. So they have to. I mean, all of their players are young. Like, I think Scott Hartnell is probably the oldest player, and they've already said that they're not going to re-sign him next year. So they're going younger, even further back. They got Freddie Gaudreau coming back up, Dante Fabro, Ellie Tolvanen, who is probably the best prospect they have right now. So I think they got to go. I mean, 3 years from now, UC Saros is playing 60 games. 2 years, maybe.
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, 3 years from now, it's going to be a different fucking story. But it's not 3 years from now. We're talking about next season.
But yeah, next season, I agree with you 100%. Is UC
Now,
Saros sees probably 10, maybe like 8 to 10 more games than he did this year.
now if you're in a dynasty league, draft Pecorine and UC Saros.
Yeah, ride that tandem.
So I mean that's not a bad idea, but that's if you're in a dynasty league where you're keeping your team from year to year.
Yeah. All right. So kind of a more interesting tandem going on is Jake Allen and Carter Hutton. From the St. Louis Blues, Carter Hutton at the end of the year took a lot of the spotlight away from Jake Allen, who 2 years ago was one of like the highest like pedigree goalies that you could have out there. Jake Allen was a brick wall for a lot of the playoffs, for a lot of the year, and then Carter Hutton this year started taking it away from him. Just look at the numbers here.
Oh man, and Carter Hutton did so well too when he was in there. Okay, so maybe the way you feel about UC Saros is the way I feel about Carter Hutton and the Blues.
I could see that.
I like Carter Hutton. I like the Blues. I want to see Carter Hutton get that next step. I personally want to see 30 to 35 games out of Carter Hutton. I want to see what he can do with those.
That's not a stretch to believe. I mean, Jake Allen played 56 and Carter Hutton played 26. So
exactly. So I mean, you throw another 8 to 10 games Carter Hutton's way. Let's see what happens.
Jake Allen had just about a 500 win percentage, and Carter Hutton had like almost a 750 win percentage. And their save percentages right now, just last year, the 16
vastly different.
The 17-18 season was Jake Allen with a 906 and Carter Hutton with a 931. So this could be one of the teams that we see go towards a 40-40 split, or maybe a 50-30, which is what they played this year. And just looking at their confidence level at the end of the year towards St. Louis's playoff push, when even after they traded Paul Stastny, they were still they made a push where it was almost as if even without Paul Stastny, they could still make the playoffs. And then in the last like 4 or 5 games of the year, they put themselves out. But
they just went on that little losing streak. But
Carter Hutton was a big reason for that. Is with these numbers, he played 26 games, had 3 shutouts, had a 2.09 goals allowed, and a 931 save percentage. Whereas Jake Allen
compared to a 275.
275 goals allowed, had only 1 shutout, and played almost twice as many games. So
give this kid some time. Give him some time next year. Give him some time this year, and the Blues can make it back to the playoffs. I'm telling you.
He could even be one of the targets for trades. So maybe at the end of the year, they had already come to terms with the fact that they weren't going to make the playoffs, and then we're just putting Carter Hutton based on his numbers. Putting him out there as a starter for a lot of the time so that they could be like, oh, my God, look at this guy. He's got a 931, 209, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, give me fucking John Tavares for him, blah, blah, blah. So that could be something that we see happen in the offseason, kind of why we're calling this a rough draft.
I hope not.
Yeah, that would be fucking brutal. Could you imagine, like, Tarasenko and John Tavares on the same fucking line? Oh, my God.
They can have Brian Elliott.
That would haunt my dreams.
They can take Brian Elliott. Fucking you can have him.
I don't even think we get like Vladimir Sobotka for him.
I'll give you Brian Elliott and a ham sandwich for
future consideration.
Yeah, like for like a 1992 fucking Scirocco, like.
But St. Louis is one of the teams I'm banking on next year as considering one of the timeshares where you have a 1A, 1B, and not like a starter and a backup. I've heard a lot of buzz about the fact that like you don't just have a backup that all of a sudden just takes a starting position where the Carter Hutton, Jake Allen does. But you saw it. Everybody saw it that watched any St. Louis Blues games throughout the year religiously, that they over the course of the year just started and continued to lose confidence in Jake Allen.
Mm-hmm.
and Carter Hutton was the guy to go to. So I'm thinking at least in the first 15 games of the year, you're going to see a 7-7 split. Maybe 8-7. I mean, obviously 8-7 because that equals 15. But you're going to see a split for the long term to find out who actually is going to be that starter. I don't think right now it's set in stone. I don't think anybody has that job nailed down.
Agreed. All right. So next up, somebody I know you're a big fan of. I mean, I had him on my team this year. He actually did really well for me, but it's just a team that I don't like.
He still wins.
I don't fucking like him. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, he really helped me out this year. I had him in Yahoo, and he was great.
He was a waiver wire pickup to boot too, right?
Yeah. No. I drafted him.
Did you?
Yeah, Hellebuck. I drafted Hellebuck. All right, so
well
the
done.
Winnipeg Jets and Connor Hellebuck. Go ahead.
Oh, it's my turn.
I believe so, and I figured I'd let you talk about the Jets so you can.
I mean, I just did St. Louis, but I'll do.
You might have to change your underwear afterwards, though.
We're just gonna breeze through this one.
Who's poke a hole in them?
Who's gonna be your star? Is it gonna be Steve Mason? No, so it's Connor Hellebuck. So he played 64 games.
Mason.
No, it's fucking not. He went 44, 11, and 9. That's better than Pecorine. He had a 9.24 save percentage, 2.36 goals allowed, and 6 shutouts. Going into next year, I have him ranked the highest. But the same thing we were saying, the caveat kind of being that 2 years ago, we had Braden Holtby, Carey Price, and Matt Murray at the top 3. So you never really know what's going to happen with these goalies. But right now, Connor Hellebuck, I think he's what, 22, 23 years old. Fuck, man. This is a guy you want. So
I just hate the Jets. I just fucking I can't stand them.
They're good. They're good.
There's always a team that like you love for some reason that I hate for some reason. Last year it was Nashville. This year it's the Jets and fucking Patrick Laine, who is just like literally one of the ugliest human beings I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't and every time I watch their games, they go close up on this guy. Like they get inside his fucking pores and it's disgusting. Like he looks like he hasn't showered yet this year.
He looks like Gary Busey, but 25 years younger. Whereas
he's awful. I can't stand him.
He's like a 22-year-old Gary Busey who doesn't look any younger with an Amish beard.
Who does meth instead of cocaine.
Or both. Most likely both.
Okay, so I'll give it to you. Don't get me wrong. Connor Hellebuck is a great goalie.
Undisputed starter.
I was happy that I had him this year. I really was. I mean, I have him as number 8 in my ranking. He's definitely a top 10. You have him in the clear top 3. We'll see what happens next year. I think their defense has been playing better than they are. They have a great offense. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if your offense is going out and scoring 4 or 5 goals a game, your goalie's going to get a lot of wins. But I think their defense is playing a little better than they actually are. So that's my personal opinion. I think next year they're going to come down to earth a little bit. And we'll see. But I mean, is Connor Hellebuck somebody that you could take in the first 3 rounds? Yeah, I'll give you that. But he won't be there because TJ will draft him. So
I hope so. I hope he's my my number 1 goalie.
Good luck with that.
So we are moving now on to the Pacific Division.
To the Pacific.
Not much going on there.
All right, yeah, I mean they're not the best goalies in the league, that's for sure. But we'll start off with a team that I like. Hey, that's a team I like, so I get to
Yeah,
talk about
you take him.
Anaheim Ducks. I like the Ducks, man.
I fucking
Now, I
hate the
mean,
Ducks.
yeah, fucking knuckle puck, dude. Fucking
Ryan
knuckle puck.
Kessler is a son of a bitch. His
Yeah,
mom
he is
really
awesome.
sucks, dude.
I fucking love Ryan Kessler.
Ugh.
On top of the fact that he is great to have in a Yahoo league.
Yeah.
That man does nothing but win 30 faceoffs a week. He gets hits like a motherfucker. He gets pins like a motherfucker. Now
He sucked last year.
during the regular season, he doesn't really score a lot of goals.
He
But I
sucked.
mean, yeah, well, why did I win that league? Because I had people like Ryan Kessler on my team. Because I had other people that were on my team to score goals. Ryan Kessler was on my team to get pins and hits and all that sort of shit. So don't talk shit about Ryan Kessler. He's awesome.
So John Gibson.
John Gibson is the goalie there. Super serviceable goalie. I like John Gibson. He was actually my other goalie in Yahoo. I had John Gibson and Connor Hellebuck. And especially during the end of the year, they were both kicking some serious ass for me.
Yeah, that's a solid tandem.
So he started in 60 games, which is awesome because, I mean, you want one of those goalies that's going to start a lot of games, especially if they're going to be your number one goalie. He went 31, 18, and 7 with a 926 save percentage and a 243 goal against average with 4 shutouts. I can't complain.
That's like spot on what Braden Holtby had. You said 926, 2.43, and 4 shutouts?
Yeah.
That's exactly what Braden Holtby had. What's his record again?
31, 18, and 7.
Wow. That is so fucking close.
So, I mean, I like John Gibson. Do I think he is top 10? Yeah, but I think I have him at number 10. So he's just making that top 10. If he is your second best goalie, then you are in fucking really good shape.
Even if he's your first best goalie.
If he is your best goalie, you're still not doing bad. So right. I mean, I think that he is a top four round pick, maybe even top 3 rounds.
So behind him, you have Ryan Miller, who he's a backup, so we're not going to talk much about him. Moving on to Arizona. Fuck, man. Their team sucked.
Sorry.
Their team sucked, but Antti Ranta had the best save percentage out of any goalie in the fucking league.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it.
It's probably because
because he's awesome.
He should have been on Philly, but whatever.
Yeah, I know. Like literally, I really truly feel like our season would have been totally different if we would have had Antti Ranta and his 930 save percentage.
Jesus Christ. All right. So he played 46 games, a lot of time on the shelf due to injury. He had a 21, 17, and 6 record. That's a winning record on the worst team in the league. Yeah. You understand that, right? So, I mean, that's really saying something for the fortitude of this guy. He had a 930 save percentage, a 2.24 goals allowed with 3 shutouts. Now, if I would have said these numbers for any other team, you would have been like, shit, I'm picking this guy first.
On top of the fact that he is seeing a shit ton of shots.
Oh, so, yeah.
I mean, if you're in a league where you're getting 0.1 for every shot this man sees, and he's seeing 45 fucking shots a game, it adds up. It adds up. Oh, yeah. He is a good goalie who's seeing a lot of shots, who's not letting a lot of goals in. He is worth picking up.
He might not get the wins for you because of the team in front of him, but he is going to get you those saves. He is going to get you the save percentage, the goals allowed. Every once in a while, he'll throw in a shutout. But shit, man, like these are pretty good numbers. Like these are great numbers if you don't consider the record or the amount of games played. But anyway, man, like Antti Ranta is, if you're playing in categories, I'm putting him top 10. If you're playing in points, I'm putting him, in the top half. He is fucking solid. He's going to give you everything but wins. He won 21 out of 82 games all year. He won like half his games, just about. So I don't know, man. It's hard to say about Antti Ranta because he plays for the shittiest team in the league, but he is the best goalie in the league as far as save percentage goes. So I don't know. I'm a huge Antti Ranta fan and not a Arizona Coyote fan. So take it for what it's worth. Darcy Kemper's right behind him. He pending any Antti Ranta injuries. He might play some games, but and strangely enough, they're paying Darcy Kemper more money than Antti Ranta. So, and they just re-signed.
Antti Ranta is the future. There's no bones about it.
They just signed Ranta for another year, but they got Kemper for I think it was 2 or 3. So I think they're banking on Kemper long term, and Ranta could still be on the market. Who knows? It's a really nice contract. So come trade deadline time, he could be excellent.
All right. So next up, we have the Calgary Flames.
Your favorite?
I like the Calgary Flames, dude. I think they're a good team. Except for Dougie Hamilton, he's good, but okay. I'm just going to move on from that. All right. So Mike Smith, he's the guy there. He came from the Arizona Coyotes, from that debacle that he was at where he hated playing every single day, did nothing but talk shit on his teammates. And you kind of thought that he was going to go to Calgary and light the world on fire. Is that what you thought?
Yeah, I thought he would go apeshit.
I thought that they were going to take this huge step, and you have Mike Smith now, so because they had such goalie problems last year, and then he comes out and he starts 55 games. He goes 25, 22, and 6. That is just not going to get it done. It's not Mike Smith. It's not going to get it done. Your .916 save percentage, not going to get it done. I mean, it's all right. Don't get me wrong. It's league average, but a .265 goal against average with 3 shutouts. Mike Smith is a good goalie. Don't get it wrong. That's not what I'm saying. He is a good goalie. I think that he has a chance to take a big step next year because I feel like Calgary kind of gets back on it, especially because they had a horrible penalty kill this year.
Yeah, you got Bill Peters now.
With Bill Peters there now, who historically is really good at having his players not take penalties. I think that'll really help them with their penalty kill, and it'll really help Mike Smith. So is he going to have a better year next year? I think I can undoubtedly say yes. Is he going to be a top 10 goalie? That I can't guarantee you.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, let me see where I have him. I have him at 18. So I mean, I have him right around the midpoint for goalies. So if he is your number 2 goalie, then you're in good shape. I'll give you that. If he is your number 2 goalie, I like your odds.
You should definitely have somebody better ahead of him.
And if he's your number 2, I can dig it. I would be just fine with him being my number 2. Next up, I'll definitely let you have this one because I know how much you love Cam Talbot.
All right. So, I mean, if we're saying anything right now, Cam Talbot is the undisputed starter.
I'll give you that. He's going to play a lot of games. I'll give you that.
Behind him, you have Al Montoya and this guy Mikko Koskinen. They just signed, 29-year-old, 6'6", 205-pound, Finnish. Yeah, Finnish. Finnish is definitely the word.
Finlandian. Are you fucking serious? Finlandian. You have had too much Tito's when you start saying Finlandian.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Islanders in the second round. The Islanders do have a pretty good drafting. They're good at drafting.
Oilers.
Yeah. But he was drafted by the Islanders. Mikko Koskinen,
okay.
This guy. But he's 29 years old. He's by no means going to get a starting job there. You still got Cam Talbot. You still got Al Montoya. I don't know why they drafted this or signed this guy, but 100% Cam Talbot with his 31-3 record. So pretty much spot on 500% save or win percentage, 908, 302 goals allowed, and 1 shutout. He had a piss poor season. Probably the biggest fantasy bust because going into it last year, he was probably like top 5 goalie just on the fact that he played like 73 games the year before that, and you're like, oh fuck, Edmonton's awesome. Connor
He's going to be playing every game. They're going to score some goals,
but I don't know if it was like the team as a whole or Cam Talbot just sucks. Whatever you want to call it, man. He had a shit fucking year. So this is another example of you don't know where to take him because of the team in front of him. Whereas 2 years ago we thought, Edmonton, oh my fuck, they're so good. Like they made it to the conference final or to the semifinals rather, and I think who they lost? They lost to Nashville, who went on to the Stanley Cup. So they were 1 series away from making the Stanley Cup, but this year they were like, what were they, like bottom 5 of the league? So there's a lot of things at play here. Cam Talbot, just based on sheer starts, is still a pretty valuable goalie. But I mean, if these numbers carry over, man, this is really, he's going to be an anchor for your team, and not in a good way. He's going to be weighing you down, and he weighed me down last year. Preseason, I got a bunch of trade offers for Cam Talbot, and I denied every single one of them because I was like, oh, no way, dude, I got fucking Cam Talbot. I'm going to be set this year. And then in retrospect, I should have taken any single one of those trades because my team would have been way better off.
Just like I should have traded Robin Leonard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To me, because that's who I wanted.
You were the one. Yeah, you were the one that wanted it. Okay, so I mean, I think that one's a clear-cut winner. Next one,
at least we know who the starter is.
As well. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Kings. Who else is it going to be? It's going to be Johnny Quick.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking Scott Wedgwood, Jeff Campbell.
Yeah, so I mean, it's Jonathan Quick. He's always going to be Jonathan Quick. He's a fantastic goalie. Someone that you actually traded for. So he started 63 games, 33, 28, 3. Not his best year, but he still had a .921 save percentage and a .240 goal against average with 5 shutouts. He's a good goalie. They took a big step back towards what they were. So they were a lot better this year than they were the previous year. That was good for Jonathan Quick. I think that'll definitely help his position for next year as far as getting drafted. But be aware of where you draft him. I think a lot of people, he is one of those goalies who has that name recognition.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And for good reason. For good reason. The man has won a couple Stanley Cups. He is legitimately a fantastic goalie. But you don't know where the Kings are going to be next year. Do they do what they did this year? Maybe. They were a solid team this year, but let's be honest, they need to take another step. They need to trade for somebody. I personally think that it's going to be John Tavares. That's where I think Tavares is going to go. I think it'll be good for him. I think it'll be good for LA, and if that's the case, it'll definitely be good for Jonathan Quick.
I think they're gonna get Wayne Simmons back.
I could see them getting Wayne Simmons back.
Yep.
I could see that, but I don't know. There's something in my gut that tells me it's John Tavares. It's going there.
They don't have the money, especially if they want Drew Doughty back, man.
Well, that's
they have to pick one of the two.
That's
Somebody's
why I
paid $10 million. It's either going to be Drew Doughty or John Tavares. Their offense is fine.
That's why I think that they're going to trade a lot of their secondary players away. Your Trevor Lewis's, your pretty much your younger core. I think they're going to be getting rid of some of them.
I'll take Velarde. Take a chance on him.
So, but yeah, I mean, Jonathan Quick is your obvious starter over in LA. Take him, but I would say probably if you can get him in the 6th, 7th round, you're looking okay. But I wouldn't take him in the top 5.
Everybody's league is different. Where all right, so you'll see the top goalies go in the first few rounds, and then everybody will be like, all right, whatever. You know, all the good goalies are going.
Now I need to draft my centers and my wingers.
Yeah, so everybody focuses on the rest of their things, and then you got the tier 2 goalies start going, and then like 2 or 3 goalies go in a row, and you're like, fuck. All right,
I need a goalie. I need one.
This is the time.
I didn't draft one because I drafted all offense the first 4 rounds. I need a fucking goalie now.
As soon as that panic button starts flashing red, that's when you start thinking about the Jonathan Quicks, the Martin Jones, like those types of people. And
I like Martin Jones. I hate the Sharks, but I like Martin Jones.
I have no reason to hate the Sharks, but I do. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because
I totally feel you. But I also hate Brent Burns.
No, I don't hate Brent Burns. If he were on my team, I'd be stoked about it. But
agreed.
Pavelski and Brent Burns, and now Evander Kane. If he ever decides to re-sign there, or if they decide to re-sign him,
he should. He should. It would be good for him. He did great when he started going there. Yeah, I think they should. Yeah, I think they should.
Yeah, he was wildly productive. So
yeah, why in the world wouldn't they?
No, that different topic, different episode. But
okay,
still.
all right, we're getting off topic.
All right, so the San Jose Sharks, this is another team where I see them. They are New Jersey Devils of the West, where they have like a pretty good to okay first line, and then fucking nobody's the rest of their team. So you got like, I can't even think, Chris Tierney, fucking
Timo Meyer. Timo Meyer played like a fucking maniac in the playoffs, though.
And like Jesus Christ, like their team is one line. So if their first line is rolling, then they're good to go. Joe Thornton should be a fourth liner, but they're still putting him on the first line when he does play. If he's even on the team next year, I think they're going to do like a sympathy contract where
he's going to be on the team next year.
He's going to be on the team next year where there's like, this fucking Joe Thornton, he's 40, 13 years old, and they're just going to give him a contract for $1 million, whatever. I don't know. But I don't know. Martin Jones is gonna reap those types of benefits, and last year he played 60 games. He went 30, 22, and 6. He had a 915, like spot on league average, 255 goals allowed, spot on league average. 4 shutouts was pretty sweet. And right behind him, like pretty much on par, was Aaron Dell. 22 games played, 15, 5, and 4. That record is pretty
Aaron
sweet.
Dell. Aaron Dell's the man.
Yeah, the record speaks for itself. He had a 914 save percentage. So I think the record has a lot to do with the fact that he is the backup and is playing the Arizonas, the Vancouvers, the Buffaloes, the Ottawas, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But, in a starting role, who knows what he would do. Martin Jones, without a doubt, is the clear-cut starter there. There's no chance Aaron Dell is getting that, but Aaron Dell could be, come July 1st, trade bait. Who knows? Like if Martin Jones is putting up a 915, 255, and they got confidence in that, then they could try and trade Aaron Dell. And a team like the Islanders or a team like Buffalo could bite on Aaron Dell and these numbers on paper and be like, oh fuck yeah, dude, this guy's good, and trade away a pretty decent piece. But Martin Jones, I
think he is good.
No, he is good.
I think that he is not going to be the next Scott Darling. You know what I mean? Where you're on a good team, so I bring up Scott Darling all the time, but I mean it's because he is a cautionary tale. He was that guy who was on this really good team, had some great numbers, and then gets a huge contract without really having any real numbers to back it up, and then just lays an egg. You know what I mean? I don't think that Aaron Dell is going to be that person. I don't think that Carter Hutton is going to be that person. I think that Anton Khudobin could maybe be that person.
That's where this word of warning comes in, is that you have these backups playing the shittiest teams, and that's why their numbers seem inflated. Carter Hutton is kind of a weird example because I know he played over 30 games, but Aaron Dell played 22. And I guarantee at least 75% of those 22 were back-to-backs, where Martin Jones was playing the stronger of the two back-to-backs, and Aaron Dell was playing, say you got like
just because you're playing
in Ottawa. You know what I mean?
Just because you're playing a back-to-back doesn't mean you're always playing a good team and a bad team. Okay,
but there's always a good team. There's always a good team and a better team, even if it's like Pittsburgh or even if it's like, I don't know, I'll just throw two teams out there like Dallas and St. Louis. So in the head coach's mind, he's like, okay, so I think X is a better team, and I'm going to play Aaron Dell, my backup, like my without a doubt backup, against Y, who I think is a worse team. So whether or not you as a head coach think Dallas or St. Louis is a better team, you're going to play your, in your mind, the better goalie against the better team, and then you're going to play your backup against the worst team. So Aaron Dell played 22 games. Most of those games I will go on like I will go confidently saying that at least 75% of those games were against the lesser opponents. So his numbers may be inflated.
All I was trying to say is just because it's back-to-back doesn't mean you're automatically playing a shit team on the back end or on the front end.
I remember so many times where I was talking back-to-backs where it was like, oh, you're playing, Detroit and Tampa Bay. Which one are you playing your starter against? Which one are you playing your backup against? You're definitely playing, you know what I'm saying. So
yeah, I feel you. It definitely happens. I'm just saying it doesn't happen all the time. But still, one way or another, I'm saying I'm going on the record saying I like Aaron Dell. I think he's a really good backup goalie. I hope to see him get his chance. I do.
Yeah, I don't discount you for that at all. But like, I like Aaron Dell too. But there's always that word of like that grain of salt that your backups are playing the lesser opponents and their numbers are going to be inflated because of it.
As I said earlier, the cautionary tale.
Right. So moving into it, you got Jacob Markstrom and Anders Nilsson. for the Vancouver shit Canucks.
Which they were better. I mean, they're a young team, so I mean they're gonna be on the up and up. But I mean, especially they're gonna get younger just because the Sedins are retiring. So automatically you're losing two 60-year-old men.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Jacob Markstrom, he started 57 games. He won 23, 26, and 7. Obviously not stellar. 912 save percentage, not stellar. 272 goal against average. At least it's less than 3 goals. And he had two shutouts. I'm not drafting a Vancouver Canuck goalie.
No.
Just flat out, I'm not doing it.
No, chances are, if you're in anything under a 20-team league, the Vancouver Canucks goalies are going to be on the waiver wire.
The only time that I am going to have one on my team is if there is a really good matchup. We find
if they're playing Philly.
Yeah, who the trash team is next year. Then maybe I'll pick up a Vancouver goalie if I just feel really good about it, and that would only be for a daily. So
yeah,
is what it is.
Hey, so I just heard that actually Elliot Friedman tweeted out that sports betting is now legal in all
in New Jersey.
States. In all 50 states.
Oh, all 50? I thought it was just New Jersey.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and look, but let me look.
I thought it was just New Jersey.
Breaking: U.S. Supreme Court rules that federal ban on state-sanctioned sports betting is unconstitutional. Decides case in favor of New Jersey. Floodgates now officially open for other states.
Oh, so it started with New Jersey.
Yeah.
So it is currently legal in New Jersey.
Yeah. And it's
currently some of these southern states are really going to fucking fight that. North Carolina is not going to like it.
No.
North Carolina and your South Carolinas, your Bible Belt states are not going to fucking deal with it. They're not. But
either way, your DraftKings is all those DFS portals are going to be a little bit more competitive now that your competition pretty much doubles. I don't know how much DraftKings you play.
I don't.
But,
I don't.
You're gonna get a lot more people in there.
Maybe I will now because the odds will be higher. But I know you love doing it.
Oh yeah. So Vancouver. Poo-poo to you.
Obviously, if you're going to take one of Jacob Markstrom. Okay, moving on. Last team.
Marc-Andre goddamn Fleury. The only reason Pittsburgh won a cup in the last 2 years is because of you. You played 46 games this year. You had a 29, 13, and 4 record. Your 4th, 5th string goalies shouldered a lot of that weight for you, and thank God for Oscar Dansk and Malcolm Subban and shit. Do you remember any of the other guys' names?
Well, I mean, I know Malcolm Subban and Dansk were definitely the big two that played, but there was one more. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, there was like 13 or 14 goalies that played for Vegas this year.
Good. Good for them, and they did nothing but fucking win.
They
because they play as a team.
Not this round, but anyway,
they're gonna come back. They're winning the next game. I'm telling you, they're winning the next game. Watch out, Jets.
All right, so Marc-Andre Fleury played 46 games, was 29, 13, and 4 with a .927 save percentage. 2.24 goals allowed, and 4 shutouts. This is amazing, and I don't think we can discount the fact that he is playing for an expansion team. A team where that
everybody just had them being last. Last. They're going to be awful. We even thought it. I ain't going to lie. I thought that they were going to suck.
Even George McPhee thought that. He had this like 3 to 5 year plan where, oh, we're just going to collect draft picks, this, that, and the other thing, and like in 5 years we're going to be a contender. Boom, first year you're a contender. Thank you, Jonathan Marchessault. Thank you, William Karlsson. We're in the Western Conference Final. You were there. I was there. We've all seen it. They're a good team. They're not an expansion team anymore. They're an NHL team. They're a playoff team. We can't call them an expansion team anymore. Anyway, Fleury
on top of the fact that they have a crazy shit ton amount of draft picks.
Oh my God!
Could trade for some serious fucking firepower.
They already did. I mean, they gave up a first, a second, and a third for fucking Thomas Tatar, who hasn't done jack shit. That was a bad move. So we're starting to see the true colors of the Knights. They got a little greedy. I'm hoping
they get a big name defenseman though. Wouldn't that be something if they get John Carlson?
Oh man, they could have had John Carlson. They were all the rumors around Erik Karlsson is that he was going to go to Vegas. But I mean, anyway, man, you got Fleury. The downswing for Vegas is going to be when Fleury decides to retire.
He's not going to be next year.
No, I think he's got at least one more year in him. If he's putting up these numbers, like this guy is a top 10 goalie. I mean, we were all wrong. 100% of us were wrong. Like everybody had, like you said, like the Golden Knights at the bottom 5, if not the bottom team of the year. So like they proved all of us wrong. Like this is a team you need to take a chance on. So,
and don't get me wrong. I mean, I liked him. I actually picked up Marc-Andre Fleury early in the year in our
the points league.
Yeah, in our points league, I picked up Marc-Andre Fleury, which and just held on to him, which was a huge plus. I picked up David Perron early in the year, who ended up being a fucking point per game player.
Yeah, so, I think you were the first person in our league to start taking a chance on those Vegas guys.
And it worked out. I mean, I didn't win this year like I did last year. I mean, you did, but it definitely got me a lot farther than I could have gone because some of my draft picks didn't pan out. So I kind of went to the well and found some diamonds in the rough.
So, I mean, it goes without saying that Marc-Andre Fleury is definitely the starter there. Malcolm Subban to be the future of the Vegas Golden Knights, but
he's not going to be the future.
No, I think he might be. I mean, there's plenty of time between now and then, but as of right now, that's who it is.
And my gut reaction is that Malcolm Subban is going to be a career backup, which is no problem. I wish I was a fucking career backup anything in the NHL.
You get paid to wear a fitted hat on the bench.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I wish, dude. So I honestly, I think he's going to be a career backup. Now, they could use some of those draft picks to trade for one of those players like a Carter Hutton, like an Aaron Dell, who I think could be the next heir apparent in Vegas.
All right, so we've made our way through all 31 teams. Let's get into our rankings. You cool with that?
I'm ready.
All right, so
I'm ready to argue.
It is my opinion that we should start from lowest to go to highest, just because suspense. People keep listening. Yeah.
I went a little differently than you did. You only did up to 31. You just did the starters.
Well, I got 32, and spoiler alert, it's just because I think Thomas Greiss and Yaroslav Halak are the same person, and they count as one goalie.
Okay, so I'll do mine because I actually went from 41 because I threw in some of those backup goalies.
All right.
So at 41, I have Mike Condon. He's not really draftable, but I mean he was worth it to have on this list. Next, I have Anton Forsberg at 40, who If Corey Crawford is hurt, then he would be your next best pick. Keith Kincaid at number 39. If something happens to Corey Schneider, he slots right in there, depending on how New Jersey plays next year. Keith Kincaid could be a viable guy. Because I personally don't trust Corey Schneider. I think Keith Kincaid is a better goalie, but only time will tell. Then I have Jonathan Bernier at 38, James Reimer at 37, and this one, obviously, you're going to love. I have Scott Darling at 36.
Oh, man.
So I have backup goalies ahead of him.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. I think he's awful. And it's not just because I think that, he is legitimately not good.
Yeah.
If you have him on your team, then you're stupid.
Give it up.
Okay, so backup goalies that I have ahead of him, Anton Khudobin at 35, Aaron Dell at 34. And okay, so these next three, Aaron Dell, Carter Hutton, and Grubauer, I have at 34, 33, and 32 respectively. I don't know what to think about Grubauer. It's been kind of in everybody's head that he is the best backup goalie in the league. For years, everybody has kind of thought that. But is that because of what's in front of him? I'm almost inclined to say yes. I feel like if somebody takes that waiver on him and gives him a big contract and he is your starter, for some reason, I don't really have anything to back it up. I'm not going to lie. But I just have this feeling like Philip Grubauer is not going to be your end-all, be-all franchise goalie. I think I would personally rather have Carter Hutton or Aaron Dell. Carter Hutton probably more than anybody. So, but I did these as rankings for next year fantasy. Philip Grubauer is going to be on the Caps next year, so fantasy-wise, he is more important than Aaron Dell. Just is. And then 31, I have Craig Anderson. 30, I have Corey Crawford. You said about Yaroslav Halak, I have at 29. And these are all like your trash guys. Rob Leonard, Jacob Markstrom, Jimmy Howard,
trash people.
Corey Snyder. That's my 20. That's my 25 and up. They're trash men. All right. Now I start getting into kind of the meat and potatoes a little bit. Guys that could be that I could definitely be wrong about, that could be better than what they are. I have Robert Luongo. Is that how you say it?
Bobby Lou.
Okay, so I got Roberto Luongo at 24. Carey Price at 23 because he is on a bottom 5 team.
Yeah,
because we're going by fantasy. This is a fucking fantasy ranking. It just is. He is a great goalie. Don't get me wrong, but if you're on a team that can't win games, then I can't have you on my team. Now, am I gonna if he's just sitting out there in the fucking 9th round? Yeah, I'll take him. But I'm gonna stash him and see what Montreal is. I'm gonna try to trade him with somebody who just wants to say, hey, I know who that guy is. I know Carey Price. I've heard that name before.
Yeah, he's got that name recognition. So
I'll use him as bait. All right, so I'll go up to 20, and then you can do yours up to 20. Okay, 22, Cam Ward. Because honestly, I think Cam Ward is a really good goalie. He just can't shoulder the load, but when he is playing, his team plays better for him. All right, he is a really respected player in that locker room, and the team they're a different team when he's on the ice. 21, I have Brian Elliott. I can't stand Brian Elliott, but the Flyers are still a good offensive team, and he's going to reap the benefits of that.
I mean, he had a good record. He just didn't have the rest of the numbers.
Yeah.
Thanks to the offense.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He has a good offense in front of him, so it's really going to help him. And honestly, he has a decent defense. Our defense is not bad. Ivan Provorov is just going to be another year older, another year wiser, and another year savvier. He is going to be one of the top 5 defensemen in the league in a couple of years. I'm telling you. And then 20, I have Semi. I have Semi Varlamov. I think he's a good goalie. It's just, what team are you going to see next year? That's what it comes down to. I'd like to put him higher because I think that he can do it. As you know, I mean, I even kind of like the Avalanche. I want to see them do good. I really do. I want to see them do better. But I'm not going to have him higher because I want to see what the team is.
So for me, breaking things down into different tiers was a little bit easier. I have 8 goalies in my tier 4 ranking. These guys were kind of like interchangeable with a little bit of like sub tiers going on there. So from 22 to 32. Yeah. I'll start from like 22. I'm thinking, all right, I'll actually work my way down. Like I said before, I think Thomas Greiss and Yaroslav Halak are the same person. But I have Thomas Greiss at 32. And then right behind him, I have Scott Darling. So Scott Darling is the worst starter out of any of these guys. Right behind him, I have Craig Anderson. I mean, you played on one of the bottom 3 teams of the league this year. And then right behind him, you got Yaroslav Halak. So Thomas Greiss and Halak are both in the bottom 4 of my rankings, behind Robin Lehner, who was actually on the worst team in the league last year. And then you got Jacob Markstrom. These are kind of like all the bottom feeders.
So Jimmy Howard. All the guys that I just named.
Yeah, our bottom 10 are going to be pretty much similar. I got Cam Ward right behind Jimmy Howard, in between Brian Elliott. I actually like Brian Elliott a little more than Cam Ward just because of the record, because of the offense, because of the upside that is Philadelphia.
Yeah, I had him right ahead of him too.
And then I got Luongo and Lundqvist to round out that tier 4 for me. So I'll jump right into my tier 3, and then we'll do your 20 to 10.
Okay.
My tier 3, I actually do have ranked out a little bit. It was easier for me to tier these guys and then rank them amongst the tiers, because it's almost as if like, all right, so Antti Raanta is like my bottom tier 3 guy, but then I got Jake Allen above him. But if you were to pick Antti Raanta above Jake Allen, I'm not gonna like shit on you for that. It's just like personal preference.
Right.
Even if you were to take my top tier 3 guy and pick Antti Raanta in front of him, I can understand why you're doing that. So my tier 3 from bottom to top goes Antti Raanta, then Jake Allen, then Semyon Varlamov. And then I got Ben Bishop, which might surprise you. Then I got Mike Smith right above him. Corey Schneider. This one's going to be weird because you don't know how he's going to be after he comes back from his hip surgery. And I actually have Matt Murray in my tier 3. Just because I think the Matt Murray that we saw this year is the Matt Murray that is working. That's the one we're going to see.
He actually is.
He is. He's a 907. He's a league average goalie. He's not a 923, 927 goalie. He's a league average goalie that stands on the shoulders of Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Phil Kessel, and yeah.
Who's Phil Kessel?
You're winning, Mayor McCheese. You're winning.
I'm sorry.
You're winning games. You're winning games thanks to the fact that your offense is way better than you, and it's not hard when you're a 907. Like Matt Murray had worse numbers than Brian Elliott. I'm just gonna say that.
He did.
So Matt Murray is still in my tier 3 just based on the fact that he has a better team in front of him than Brian Elliott does. But whatever. So in front of Matt Murray, I got Corey Crawford. I say that with a question mark at the end because I don't really know. His numbers on paper last year were super awesome, but who knows? Who knows what the Blackhawks are going to look like next year if Corey Crawford can play, 55, 60 games, then maybe the Blackhawks are winning 30 to 40 of them, but you never know. So I'm just kind of putting him like right in the middle of the list just to be like, all right, well, he's a good goalie, but his team kind of sucks now. So right above him, I have Cam Talbot. The only reason I have him above Corey Crawford and the rest of these guys is because of those the games played and stuff like that. He is going to play like 65 to 70 games. So you have that chance of getting a bunch of wins, a bunch of saves. Those types of things are the things we look for. And the last person in my tier 3 is Martin Jones. So he is my number 1 tier 3 goalie. Just because the Sharks are good, Martin Jones is good. I don't know. I don't know what else more to say.
Okay, so to be honest with you, we have pretty much all of the same names, except
just in a different order.
Except for a couple. Obviously, I told you I had Corey Crawford a lot lower than you did. I just don't see it. I don't trust him.
That 927 though, man, that's what's up.
Well, we'll see. I'm gonna stick by mine way too early ranking as of right now. One person that I have in here that you did not, that you obviously have higher than I do. I have Mike Smith in this tier.
No, I had him there. I had him between Ben Bishop and Corey Schneider. Okay,
well then pretty much we're almost spot on. So I had Varlamov right outside that list, and you had him at the top at the bottom of yours. So
all right, so I'll rate it from top to bottom, just so it kind of like makes more sense in our brain. Martin Jones, then Cam Talbot, Corey Crawford, Matt Murray, Corey Schneider, Mike Smith, Ben Bishop, Semyon Varlamov, Jake Allen, Antti Raanta. That's my tier 3.
Okay,
like in order.
Okay, and mine, like I said, I mean it's a lot of the same names, except I have at 19 I have Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah, he's the first guy in my tier 4.
Okay. 18 Mike Smith, 17 Cam Talbot, 16 Jake Allen, 15 Antti Raanta, 14 Ben Bishop, 13 Matt Murray, 12 Martin Jones, and then at 11 I have Jonathan Quick.
Oh man, yeah, he is second to last in my tier 2.
Well, I honest to God think that there are 10 better other goalies that I would rather have on my team next year than Jonathan Quick. Is he someone that I want on my team? Absolutely. Right. But if I have 2 of these other 10 goalies, then I'm feeling really good about myself.
I have Johnny Quick at number 12 for me. I don't know where he is for you.
11.
11? Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty close.
So especially on that tier, we're really close. So your next tier, what are the rankings?
Tier 2, this one, it's almost as if it has like 2 tiers inside of it. So tier 2, I'll start from the top. It starts at the number 5, and then it goes down to 12. So it goes from 5 to 12. And for number 5, I have Sergei Bobrovsky. 6, I have Tuukka Rask. 7, Devin Dubnyk. 8, Pekka Rinne. 9, John Gibson. 10, Marc-Andre Fleury. 11, I have Jonathan Quick. And 12, I have Carey Price.
Okay, so I mean, we're definitely starting to vary here a little bit, especially as far as where we have who might be the best goalie in the league. So for my number 5, I'll do 5 through 10. For my number 5, I have Braden Holtby. For my number 6, I have Frederik Andersen. My number 7 is Marc-Andre Fleury. My number 8 is Connor Hellebuck. My number 9 is Devin Dubnyk. And now my number 10 is John Gibson. Now, yeah. I mean, we do have some of the similar names, but they're mismatched here and there. So
yeah, I like your top 10 so far.
Okay, so I'll finish mine out. Okay, so number 4, I have Tuukka Rask. I think that Boston is going to stay on the trajectory that they're on. I think next year they're going to be a very good team. They're not breaking that team up anytime soon, especially with that top line. Oh, man, there is very few better top lines in the whole fucking league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Tuukka Rask is not only is he a fantastic goalie who can make fantastic saves, but he has a fantastic team in front of him. With just an amazing mix of and don't get me wrong, I fucking hate the Bruins. But they have an amazing mix of like these high-level players, savvy veterans, and just this really good young core that they drafted well with, that they're starting to give time on ice to. Like Dan Heinen and Charlie McAvoy, like these kids that are coming out and not only just getting the ice time and kind of doing the auxiliary things that help you win games, but they're getting points and they're doing the very in your face kind of things where not your average fan of the Bruins will notice. Okay,
and if you think about it, I mean, David Pastrnak is what? He's 22.
Yeah, he's young.
Jesus Christ,
he's young. Okay, so Tuukka Rask, number 4. If maybe even somebody had him higher, I wouldn't be surprised. But I have him at number 4. Number 3, I have Pekka Rinne. I think he is a fantastic goalie, especially in the regular season.
Yes.
Now let's be honest with each other. I prefaced this before by saying this is a fantasy rankings list.
Yeah.
All right. So we're doing regular season rankings. Right. When you're having your fantasy playoffs, it's not playoffs in hockey. It is still during the regular season where Pekka Rinne is going to be getting a lot of games. He has a great regular season record. I got Pekka Rinne at number 3. They're still going to have that awesome defense, and their offense is really coming around. Okay, so number 2, I have Andrei Vasilevsky. We talked at length about him before. Just like the Bruins, I don't think the Lightning are going to slow down either. I think they have a really good defense. They have won just because they're not playing well right now. Don't get me wrong. That game I watched last night, they were in it, and then they made one mistake, and then they made 2 mistakes, and then it just all turned into this big fucking snowball. And they let it get away from them. But they are a good team. Don't get it fucking twisted. Stamkos, Kucherov, that offense is great. Yanni Gourde, Braden Point, their checking line is one of the best checking lines in the whole game.
Jesus.
Okay, so I have Andrei Vasilevsky at number 2 for fantasy wise because he's gonna get wins not only because he's a great goalie but because his team is scoring 4 goals a game. At number 1, I have Sergei Bobrovsky because I honest to God think that he is the best goalie in the league.
Wow.
I think that team. Okay, so this is going to be one of those risk reward things. Columbus is another one of those teams that always plays really well during the regular season. And let's hope, for my sake and me saying this, that I'm right on that. I think Bob is hands down the best goalie in the league. I truly, honestly believe that. I still wish he was on our team, but he's not.
Oh, man.
And,
could you imagine that? Yeah,
I could, and it would look like silver. It would look like a cup in Philly.
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for that dude. He's really good. I wish he was still with us, but he's my number one. He's my number one goalie in the rankings.
All right, my tier 1 is 4 people. Pretty easy to rank between 1 and 4. Number 4, I have Braden Holtby as the 4th best goalie. Right behind him, Andrei Vasilevsky, for all the same reasons you said, man. Like, he's got the team in front of him. He is above average as a goalie himself. So that like those two things equal even better things. So he is definitely a top 3 goalie. Frederik Andersen, just based on the amount of games he plays and the team in front of him, once again, he's going to win a lot of them. So wins, they mean a lot to me. And then right now, just because of how well he is playing and the playoff performance and all of that jazz, Connor Hellebuck is my number 1 goalie going into next year. So if it comes down to Winnipeg and Tampa, like I think it might next year or in the Stanley Cup Finals, I think Winnipeg's going to win it, man. Even if it comes down to Winnipeg and Washington, I still think based on goalie performances here in the playoffs,
I mean, it's looking like it's going to be Winnipeg and Washington. Obviously, they're both up 2-0.
Yeah, I think Winnipeg plays their second game tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Winnipeg's up 1-0 and Washington's up 2-0. It seems like Winnipeg, Washington, which would be a really cool one to see.
All right, guys. So that is our goalie fantasy rankings.
Yeah.
And a little bit on just each goalie and the team around them. One thing I am
drunk.
One thing I really liked is we didn't just talk about the goalies as what they are. We talked about why. You know what I mean? We talked about the team around them. We talked about the defense in front of them and the offense that's scoring them goals. Because in all honesty, you can be a fantastic, great goalie, one of the best goalies in the league, and have a shit record. You can be
Andrew Ronta.
You can be not a great goalie and be on a great team, and you know what I mean, be fantasy relevant. So take that into account when you're doing your draft. Okay, don't go by name recognition. Don't fall into that trap. Okay, sometimes it'll work, but let other people do it. And if you do that, I'm serious.
No. Carey Price being a perfect example.
Let other people fall into that trap. Do your homework. Look at the team around somebody and decide with that, as opposed to, okay, because last year Connor Hellebuck would not have been on your radar for a top 5 goalie. Let's be honest. Not many people would have said that. Not many people would have had somebody like John Gibson as one of their. Don't get me wrong, maybe they would have had him as one of their 2 goalies, but it wouldn't have been like your first choice. Okay, in all honesty, John Gibson fell to me. All right, I picked him up because you know what, it was like I need to take a goalie because all these other assholes are doing it. Look at the team around us. Okay, you want to talk us out?
All right, guys.
Actually, first, do you have any left? Do you want to take one little quick one?
Yeah, let's do a shot, eh?
I've been taking nothing but shots this whole fucking time.
I'm plenty drunk.
I know you are.
Yeah, plenty drunk. I don't even know if
Oh,
I should.
we're not even going to cheers. You're just going to swill out of the bottle.
Cheers,
you dirt prick.
Webcam. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bloop. Oh, doing shots out of a handle brings me back to college. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it's way too early to be talking rankings or anything like that, but we know people love rankings. People love to bitch about rankings, all that type of thing. So hit us up on
tell us your top 5. Yeah, I mean, let us know who you think the top 5 goalies are going to be. And like we said before, don't just tell me the top 5 goalies in the league. Tell me the top 5 fantasy goalies in the league, because honestly, they're different. Let's make no qualms about it. So
we would love to hear what you guys have to say about what you guys think your rankings are. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on don't hit us up on Facebook. We got nothing going on Facebook. Hit us up on Instagram. We're pretty active on Instagram. We're pretty active on Twitter, both at FHF Hockey. Let us know what your top 5 are. Let us know where we went wrong. We love knowing when we're wrong. I mean, we're both married. We hear it every day about how wrong we are. So, yeah, guys.
It's just another day of the week.
It's just another day of the week. Thanks for listening, guys. We love you.
Love you.